Goodbye, old friend. I'll miss you. Just kidding. Hey guys, my name's DocJade. I have never played Krastorio before, so this will be a completely blind run. As per usual, I have started with default settings on a randomized seed, so I have no idea what to expect. Unfortunately, it looks like we got a desert with no trees. Great. What the heck is a Mersite? Guess we'll find out later. Looks like there's some biters fairly close by, so we'll have to take them out before starting any serious automation. Inside the spaceship is some pistol ammo. Also, looks like we start with a few slow assemblers on the ground. And it looks like they nerfed mining speed a ton too. Picking up these bits of rocket debris is taking forever and a half. We also get a little lab, but it takes tech cards instead of science packs. Oh, and a tiny 240 kilowatt reactor. We haven't even researched anything yet, and there's already some new stuff to worry about. Inserter parts? Weird. Now that all the rocket bits are picked up, I'll grab some wood to make power poles and hook everything up. Man, this research tree is insane. There's so much new stuff here that I have no idea where to even start. For now, I think I'm just gonna go take out this biter nest and free up the coal patch. Bullets now have physics, which is pretty cool, but it also means I need to aim more precisely. And holy cow, these biters seem to have a lot more health than usual. I should have brought some fish. It seems I have severely underestimated the biters, which is good news and bad news. The good news is it'll make gameplay and base defense more interesting, but the bad news is I'm terrified of biters again. Another little quirk of Krastorio is you have to set the recipes in furnaces manually. Smelting plates now takes 10 ore to make 5 plates. Hopefully there's a way to make that ratio better later on. It seems like a lot of crafting recipes haven't had their ratios changed, but their crafting amount has been inflated. So instead of crafting 2 copper wire from a single plate, you now have to craft 8 copper wire from 4 plates. I think this is an interesting gameplay change, but man, it's annoying when you're low on items. I'll handcraft some, basic tech cards, and holy crap, they take forever to craft, but thankfully you get 5 at a time, which makes it slightly more bearable. Might as well use these little ship assemblers to make the tech cards while I'm doing other stuff. And there's automation cores. They're a prerequisite to assemblers. Next up, I'll research military so I can try taking out those biter bases again. Automation cores require gears, sticks, and copper plates. Early game recipes already requiring 3 ingredients. Oh no. Pistol ammo requires coal now, which makes sense, and honestly I think it should require coal in the base game too. And military is done. I just realized that rifle ammo is separate from pistol ammo, and I can't even make rifle ammo in the assemblers we have, so I have to handcraft it. It seems to be a lot more effective, but I can hardly aim once the biters get up in my personal space. Next up is automation tech cards, which require these blank tech cards as well. I tried to fight this other nest as well, but I wasn't prepared for worms, so I had to bail. The ship lab is pretty darn slow, so I add a second one to hopefully speed things up a little. But since I don't have inserters yet, I still have to move the tech cards around manually. It looks like the purple stuff under the biter nests absorbs pollution. That's cool. Speaking of absorbing pollution, I want to unlock air purification as soon as possible, so biters will be less of an issue. The ship's reactor can't keep up with power needs anymore, so I'll have to build a few of these wind turbines. These turbines make a hilariously small amount of power. 20 kilowatts is laughable. But I've got no other choice right now, so I'll just have to spam the heck out of them. Why do the ores stack above 50? This feels so wrong. Plates too. Well, I've been procrastinating long enough. Time to throw down some more miners and furnaces to really get things moving. These turbines, man, they're hardly making a dent. Automation cards are done. Now I'll research turrets. Red tech cards require quite a few intermediate ingredients, and that is both exciting and kind of scary. I hope the later tech cards aren't extremely complicated. A bit of waiting later, and turrets are done. Next up is automation, and then light armor. An hour in, and I finally place our first assembler to boost basic tech card production. But we don't have enough power to run it, so it's time to make even more turbines. And light armor is done. Time to make some more rifle ammo and get those biters. I seem to be missing a ton of shots up close. Guns are definitely more balanced towards long-range combat in this mod. Or the more likely case is it's just a skill issue. Jeez, that took forever. Back to research. Now we're working on electric miners. I'm hoping to get a smelting array up and running soon. Next, I'm going to research crushing. For some reason I thought it would let me refine ore so I could smelt it into more plates. I have no idea where that idea came from. While that researches, I'll start belting the ores over to where I want the smelting array to be. I really should have set up steam power before using electric miners. That was kind of a dumb move on my part. Regardless of how slow it is, we've got ore. There's the crusher. Next up is logistics. I made a crusher, and past me was immediately disappointed that I didn't get special items for crushing ores. Moving on, time to start working on the smelting array. I can't actually build it yet, because I'm still waiting on logistics. After adding a second lab, logistics is done. Next up is fluid handling, which will bring us one step closer to steam power. A little tip came up while I was building the smelting array, informing me that I can switch what side of the belt inserters place their items. Pretty cool. And there's basic fluid handling. Now we can research steam engines. After setting up the inserters to fill both sides of the belt, the smelting array is done. Now I just need to set the recipes and get some more coal. Steam engines are done. What's with modded Factorio always making offshore pumps need power? Anyways, with some coal, now we've got more power. Iron plates are starting to produce. I just realized they're slightly retextured, which looks strange at first, but overall I like the lighter color. With these new ratios for smelting, I have no clue what I'm doing ratio-wise, so this is probably way too big. Anyways, time to finally automate some belts. I'll tear down all the old lab equipment and build a dedicated setup for making the tech cards. Now we finally have fully automated science. Except for wood. We still need a greenhouse for that. Speaking of greenhouse, all we need now is stone processing, and then we can unlock it. This tip scared me because I thought it was triggered by a biter attack, but nope, it was just a random tip. Man, with all these intermediates, crafting inserters takes forever. Time to set up a stone mine. We're going to need it for crushing into sand and then smelting that sand into glass. Also, loaders make their first appearance. Now that stone processing is done, we can get started on greenhouses. I wonder how major of an ingredient sand will end up being, but for now, I'll just turn it directly into glass. Next up, I'm going to automate rifle ammo so I can have a little stockpile for purely diplomatic reasons. Here would have been the perfect opportunity to use a loader, but I didn't really consider it at the time because I had already forgotten they existed. Old habits die hard, I guess. Greenhouses are done. I'll also research the trees you can place, because I'm hoping I can spam them to avoid pollution spreading too much. Underground pipes are super long. I wonder why. After hooking up our first greenhouse, we can now turn water directly into wood. Seems kinda cheaty, but it's probably well balanced. Wood on the bus. Now that's something you don't see every day. It's so cursed. I don't like it. I'm done researching trees. Yet another thing I never thought I would say. Looks like the dream of spamming the trees is dead for now. Long craft times means it takes a total of 90 seconds to create one tree out of water. But maybe later on I'll scale this up a ton. Next up on the research tree is electronics. This will unlock green circuits. Here comes our first tree. But for now, I'll switch back to making wood. Electronics are done. Next up is logistic tech cards. Green circuits require wood. I think I'm going to be sick. Whatever, I still have to set them up regardless if I have a distaste for their biological nature. I'm an unbelievably indecisive player sometimes, so I made some more trees. I have a suspicion that I'll need glass later on, so I'll add it to the bus. Logistic tech cards are done, so now I'll start working on scaling up science production. First up, we're gonna make blank tech cards. Making gears on the bus for this run is kinda strange, because gears are actually the same density as plates in this mod. But whatever, I like having gears on the bus, so I'm doing it. The bus is about to hit the lake, so it's time to turn east. With the bus properly rotated, we can set up some serious science production. First up is the super simple basic tech cards. Next is automation tech cards, and for those I'll have to make automation cores. I also researched steel, but I forgot why. Time to make logistic tech cards. They're super easy. There we go, all 3 tech cards are done now. So I'll go ahead and tear down the old research setup since we don't need it anymore. Fluid chemistry looks interesting. All of my trees are starting to die from absorbing pollution. I guess I'll need to plant more of them soon. But it looks like they hardly made a dent in the pollution cloud anyway. Looks like steel processing unlocked coke. I'll go ahead and set that up. It looks like it's using the wood for fuel, and I'm not sure how to prevent that. Oh well. Last time I checked, coke is white, so this must be a really bad batch. Anyways, I'm purple now, and it's time to make some steel. And there we go, steel. We're almost 4 hours in, and finally the biters have decided to attack us for the first time. Now it's time for some retaliation. First I just have to find where the nest attacked us from. It's probably to the west. Scratch that, it's probably towards the south, but at least I found some oil. And they didn't come from the south either. Must be from the northwest. It would be nice to have a radar to reveal the area around us, but I can't research it yet. There they are. Back to the base now, it's time to add some more labs. Fluid chemistry is done, next is fast inserters to load the labs faster. After upgrading the inserters, next I'll research sentinels. They're like a little mini radar. I'm also going to set up engine production. Once again, I don't have a specific reason as to why, but I feel like we'll need them later. Oh my goodness, he's so cute! Little tiny little guy. I love him. I went ahead and placed enough of them to cover the entire base. Next up is Automation 2. Now I'm just researching stuff that looks cool. Silicon processing is next. I went for a little stroll and found this worm, and that made me realize that guns have a lot bigger of a range than usual. Man, these immersite caves are pretty. Double the labs means double the reused jokes. Water electrolysis looks interesting, but I'm not looking forward to dealing with all these separated chemicals. There's oil processing. Next is mineral water extraction. To show off the lab speed, I researched stone walls and heavy armor, but heavy armor ended up taking a lot longer than I thought it would take. I also made myself some of that heavy armor. And steel axe, because why not? Okay, let's start working towards chemical tech cards. We're going to eventually need oil, so might as well set it up sooner rather than later. Apparently, oil is a limited resource in Krastorio. In the base game, pumps just slow down over time, but nope, after 2.5 million oil, this pump jack will completely stop. I'll put a turret here, just in case. Sulfur is done. Next up is plastics. Our new oil setup is going to live where our old science production used to be. I'll set up stone brick production. Basic oil processing is the same as it is in the base game, so no special shenanigans yet. Also, plastic is done. Next up is red circuits, which take electronic components. That's new. Since we aren't going to do anything with it for a bit, I'll throw all the petroleum in a tank. The tree delusion's returned, so I'm setting up a greenhouse to make trees with the excess wood. Red circuits are done. Next up is chemical tech cards. That only takes about a minute to research. We're still trying to work towards air filters, so next up is atmospheric condensation. Now let's set up some sulfuric acid. I always forget that you need iron plates for sulfuric acid, so for now I'll be lazy and just grab it directly out of one of these furnaces. For the electronic components, we'll need glass, silicon, and plastic. I've already got glass, so I'll set up silicon next. Silicon is made from quartz, and quartz is made from sand and water in this filtration plant somehow. Whether the filtration plant has inherently magical powers or not, we do not care. What we do care about is the quartz, which we have now gained from the plant's unknown methods. I'll go ahead and bring this quartz up north, and then we can smelt it into silicon. To finish making the electronic components, we're going to need plastic, so it's time to slap together some of that. A single chemical plant will probably be enough for now. I'll run the plastic over by the silicon and glass, and now we can finally make those electronic components. There we go, that wasn't too bad. Now for the hard part. I need to get the plastic and components onto the bus somehow. No worries, I'll just cut straight through the middle of the pre-existing bus. I love playing new mod packs because they bring a bit of chaos back into the game, since I can't plan things in advance anymore. Spaghetti and belt weaving is my specialty, so it wasn't too hard after all. Although the bus is starting to get a bit uncomfortably wide. Time to make red circuits. And holy crap, that is a lot of fluids. Honestly, the whole production chain up to red circuits wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. I was worried there would be some additional steps, like maybe fluids to mimic immersion lithography. With red circuits done, it's time to move the labs to make some room for chemical tech card production. Glass and red circuits in the same tech card sure does feel strange. But now the blue cards are done. I'll combine the 4 belts into 2 belts because combining 4 belts into 5 belts wouldn't have made any sense. Time to put the labs back together. While we wait for atmospheric condensation to finish, I'll do some base maintenance by placing more trees and fixing the iron supply for the sulfuric acid. With the research done, we'll queue up advanced chemistry, and then we can take a look at the new condenser building. Looks like it just makes nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and water. I have a feeling I'm going to need these rare metals, but I still haven't seen any on the map. Oh well, that's a problem for later me. For now, I'll set up another smelting array for iron and copper due to low throughput. That'll do. Also, we're starting to run low on glass, so I'll redesign the glass smelting to fit a few more furnaces in there. Advanced chemistry is done. Time to finally research air purification. If you pay close attention here, you will notice a major mistake. The new copper smelter is done. I also accidentally mixed copper plates into the iron plates. After I finished cleaning that mess up, air purification is done. The air purifiers are surprisingly inexpensive, so I'll craft a few of them and put them all in separate chunks. I'll chuck a few filters in them, and we'll check on them in a bit. but first we need to defend ourselves from the world's smallest spider attack. According to the pollution graph, those 4 air purifiers alone absorb as much pollution as all of our miners produce. I can already tell this is going to be slightly overpowered, which gives me a great idea. Cleaning the used air filters has a 90% chance of returning the filter, which is nice, but the cleaning process also produces dirty water. I currently don't have a use for dirty water, so I'll research flare stacks so I can just burn the fluid. These air filters last a super long time. Armed with the flare stack, we can burn off the dirty water, which will actually occasionally produce stone, but we can worry about that later. Now I'm going to build this huge belt all the way around the base. The plan is to have an air filter in each chunk so the pollution can never escape the base. Also, I forgot cliffs were a thing, so while I build this, we'll start researching cliff explosives. Cliff explosives are done. Also, the belt loop is done. Now I'll bring up all the ingredients to make air filters and set up production and cleaning for the air filters. Now I just need to place an air filter in every chunk. This might take a while. Through the magic of editing, you have now time traveled to a future where I've finished building the filters. And the filters are already starting to absorb a ton of pollution. Now that we shouldn't have to worry about pollution-induced spider attacks, I'll start working on advanced oil processing and then ore enrichment. Ore enrichment will allow us to wash the ores with water and sulfuric acid to produce enriched ores, which take half the amount of items per plate to smelt. This will effectively double our iron ore output. Oh, and I'll also set it up for copper ore. Now that the iron ore has drained out of the smelters, we can swap in the enriched ore and change the furnace recipes. I'll do the same for copper ore off camera when it empties. I still don't have a use for dirty water, so time to burn more of it. Would you look at that? All the pollution is gone. I'm curious as to what lies beyond the horizon, so I'll research radars. I've got a bunch of random stuff in my inventory, so I'll just destroy some of it in this wooden chest real quick. Now, if there's anything I've learned from the American school system, it's that guns kill things. But for some reason, that doesn't seem to apply to this wooden chest. I'll figure out another way to destroy it later. There's still a little bit of pollution hanging out around the oil pumps, but some trees should fix that. Since radars are done, I'll throw one down. Next up on our to-do list is construction robots, so I'll get started on lubricant. Next up is electric engines. And batteries. Looks like I found a use for the dirty water. If I run it through a filtration plant, I can make a small amount of rare metals. It makes stone most of the time, but at least I'll get some rare metals. And batteries are done. Now we can research the robot frames. After some pipe shenanigans, we've got batteries. While I was upgrading the labs, robotics finished. Now we just have to research construction robots, then modular armor for the personal roboport. I forgot you need solar panels for the personal roboport. Whatever. While we wait for that, I'll go ahead and set up lubricant. Now I'll start working on electric engines. There's solar panels. Next up is personal solar panels. Now I can actually research the personal roboport. Portable generator, huh? Sounds cool. I'll research that too. Once I finish running this pipe for lubricant, we've got electric engine production. I made myself some modular armor, and that is a wide battery. I'll make myself a roboport, a small portable generator, and a big solar panel. It's slightly weird to have a combustion engine strapped to your chest for power generation, but at least it's convenient. This big solar panel almost makes as much as that generator does too. I'll make some construction robots, and then we can finally teach this wooden box a lesson. I'm wondering if there's a way to cheese power production with these gas power stations, because I have an idea. I was thinking I could burn oxygen in the gas power stations for infinite power. This was dumb for two reasons. Oxygen isn't flammable, and gas power stations don't work with anything besides oils. With my lack of basic chemistry education out of the way, let's start working on the prerequisites for utility tech cards. Flammables, and then rocket fuel. The gas power stations make a decent amount of power when hooked up to petroleum gas. I think I'll abuse that a bit to supplement our steam power. And rocket fuel is done. That is loud and awful, but still sounds better than any riced Subaru I have ever seen. Next up on the research tree is blue circuits. I'm feeling a bit ludicrous today, so I'll run the filter belt into the middle of the base. Oh, and blue chips are done. Next up is low density structure. I have no idea why I did this, but the more the merrier, I guess. Here I take a slight detour to research fuel for no reason. Looking at the recipes for rocket fuel, it turns out it's possible to make it from iron plates and thin air. I'll throw together some atmospheric condensers and a chemical plant to make ammonia. Fuel is done, back to low density structure. You thought that detour to research fuel was pointless, huh? Well, apparently we actually needed the fuel refinery to make the rocket fuel, so I'm glad I did it. And there you have it, spicy canned air. Production was a bit lacking speed-wise, so I rebuilt it to be more modular. Low density structure is done. Next up is the research server. After massively scaling up the rate we make gases and completely ignoring ratios, we now have 3 times the rocket fuel production. Research server is done. Now we can actually research the utility tech card. Unfortunately, those cards require blue circuits, which take rare metals as an ingredient, and after all this time, the filtration plant only made a nice 69 of the ore. Apparently, rare metals are supposed to be in ore patches on the map, but I do not see any nearby. For now, I'll just set up everything I need to wash the rare metal ore. First up is an electrolysis plant to make the chlorine and hydrogen for hydrogen chloride. And the tech card is done. Add that to the list of things I never thought I would do, making chlorine out of sand. Time to actually do something about that filtration plant's output. I'll stick the stone back onto the main stone belt with a priority splitter and also accidentally mix it into the coal. After cleaning up that mess, it's time to wash that rare metal. Every single time, man, these pipes get me. Like, you would never expect this to reach, but it does. It's so great. And there we go, enriched rare metal ore. What a mouthful. I also researched level 2 mining drills. I'll put some on the coal patch in a minute. I'll make a tiny smelting setup for the rare metals. And there you have it, rare metals. I use those few rare metals to make these level 2 mining drills. Well, now that we're officially out of the ore, guess it's time to go exploring to find some more. To explore for the ore, we need a car, so I'll research logistics too, and then cars. Now that we've got a car, we can go ahead and slap it down and throw some coal into it and get going. Except you can't use coal, I have to use fuel. I'll temporarily make some fuel from light oil, and then we can get going. I discovered the car has a equipment grid, so it's time to throw some random junk in there. Apparently, these electric engines help with acceleration a bit, so I'll put one of those in. Yes, I know there's only one solar panel in there. This car will be parked most of the time, so it'll have plenty of time to charge. Now let's find some ore! After some driving around, I found a patch next to this biter nest. Running about that far would probably annoy a few of you, so I'll start researching trains and grab some ammo. And there's trains! Might as well research fluid wagons while we're at it. Rails are a tad simpler now, only taking these steel beams and stone. No more iron sticks. And there's fluid wagons. Next up is train stations. Since I'm not mass producing rails at the moment, I'll just hand feed the stone. Even though I don't need them yet, I'll also research rail signals. I'm not sure how many rails I'll need to get there, but definitely a lot more than 138. Whatever, starting early never hurt anyone. Except Jeffrey Dahmer. After grabbing some steel to build a train and a wagon, we can start working on the drop-off station. Inside of the train, there was a little surprise. Looks like every vehicle in Krastorio comes with an equipment grid. Man, this one is huge. I'll stick some of these electric motors in it later. Another surprise is rocket fuel stacks up to 100. This sucker will probably go hundreds of trips before needing to refuel. 8 of these electric engines should make this train super quick. Time to start heading in the opposite direction of west, but looks like there's a few biter nests I'll need to take care of. These worms sure do seem a lot more tanky than before. Definitely a lot scarier to deal with. As we continue to head northwestern, we come across another biter nest, but don't worry. I shall let the blood of John Moses Browning flow through my veins as I hand-build a sniper rifle. Unfortunately, I still needed to run back to the base to make more ammo. After resupplying, I can now take out the nests and worms from a distance, but it's pretty slow. As cool as the new weapons are, turret creeping with fish spam just seems to work the best until very late game. Now that the train is fully charged, the acceleration is nuts. I pushed a little bit too aggressively. Let's get out of here. After I came back with some more ammo, we've finally conquered the rare metals. Apparently the stuff around the biter bases is called creep, and I can pick it up with robots. But after reading the in-game tips, it turns out I can pick it up with Alt-C. Time to build a pickup station. I don't have enough materials to set up mining yet, so I'll come back later. Some people may say that I'm addicted to handcrafting, and that may be true, but it is nice to take a little breather and plan out what I want to do next while I wait. I think right now is a good time to take a little detour and set up military tech cards. The first thing I want to research with those cards is energy shields, so I'll cue that now. Time to set up the cards, but I got distracted by the surplus of bricks in my inventory. Setting up military tech cards isn't too hard, but it sure is a lot of fun to try to get all these things off the bus. I don't think I'll need biomass on the bus, so I'll just hand feed it. I need the biomass to make these biter research data cards, which is a nice intermediate step. I like it. We'll get the military cards soon, so I'll belt them to the labs. But how? Belt weaving. And there we go, military tech cards. Now that that subplot is over, we can get back to the rare metal mine. Using loaders on the train should make loading times super short. I started placing the miners down, but lo and behold, I apparently need chlorine to mine the metals. Whatever, I'll finish building the miners and worry about retrofitting the stations for fluid wagons later. Energy shields are done, and apparently we can research the next level of power armor, so I'll do that. I need to get power to the mining outposts, but conveniently my arms are long enough that I can hand assemble a power pole and string the wires between them while moving faster than freeway speeds over 8 times a second. It seems I forgot to park the train, but luckily I can just stop it with my face. Power armor is done. Next I'll start unlocking all the different types of modules. After attaching the fluid wagon to the train and then helplessly watching it ride into the sunset, I'll expand the station slightly so we can load chlorine onto the train. Also, efficiency modules are done. Next up are productivity modules. Come on, man. Now that power is finally connected, I'll hook up the miners to the loaders. Now we can bring the ore back to base, unload it, wash it, then smelt it. Our balance of chlorine to hydrogen isn't quite right anymore, so I'll have to use some circuit conditions to burn off the excess hydrogen. I'm super grateful that the wires don't require green circuits to make. This is how it should be in vanilla, honestly. 2 steel furnaces isn't going to cut it long term, so how about 6? Now I just need to snake the metals over to the bus. I was making the bus a tad longer and ran out of belts, so it's time to channel my inner American and drive 500 feet to get some more. That mining outpost creates a lot more pollution than I thought it would. We should probably do something about that. Oh, and I forgot to do speed modules, so there they are. We're actually getting surprisingly close to launching a rocket, but luckily there's a lot more to this mod after the rocket. I don't feel like putting air filters on the train or running a belt of them all the way over to the mining outposts, so I'll just build a ton of trees. This definitely isn't a long-term solution, but it'll help for now. But this nest is still a bit too close for my liking. Also, the Krastorio devs are smart. You can't just run up and grab the creep. Apparently, trains produce pollution when they move. Neat. We don't have enough sand to make chlorine, so I'll upgrade our stone production. Yeah, those trees aren't helping at all. I'll just ignore the pollution until it becomes a problem. But it would be nice to have some laser defenses, so I'll research those. Why did I put speed modules in here instead of just building a second crusher? To be honest, I have no idea. You know what? I'm gonna automate all 3 types of modules so we can just chuck them into random buildings more often. Also, lasers are done. Next up are laser turrets. And there we go, fully automated modules. I kept putting off building a mall, but now I think it's finally time to just bite the bullet and do it. Although I will be building it with cargo wagons just for fun. Cargo wagon malls can take a little bit to set up, but I think they're actually pretty cool. Now I just need to figure out how to get the items into the wagon. After a slight mix of sushi, spaghetti, and circuit conditions, we can now automatically load in iron and copper plates. Oh, and green circuits. Now we have automatic inserters, except for the stack inserters, which we just researched. I'll also set up assembler assembly. Finally, I forgot we unlocked energy shields, so I'll quickly make one. I'm not sure how much it'll help, but it's nice to have regardless. Our iron patch is slowly starting to run out. We're gonna have to find a new one soon, but not quite yet. It's time to start working on utility tech cards, but first we need to set up blue circuits and low density structure. I'll do blue circuits first. Don't worry about the research, I'm just doing random ones in the background to get them out of the way. And there's blue circuits. I don't show it much on camera, but cliffs are still occasionally getting in the way, so let's finally automate them with some mouth-watering spaghetti. Now that we've got explosives, I just need to figure out how to cram grenades and barrels in here somehow. I need steel for barrels, but guess who forgot you need coke to make steel? Me. I'll just make some coke on site. Okay, now we just need grenades, and luckily they fit in here quite nicely. Now we have fully automated cliff explosives. Back to that tech card, let's start working on low density structure. All done! Hopefully we have enough copper to keep up with demand. My train schedule was super messed up, but I finally got around to fixing it. Oh, and I also made myself the next level of power armor. And since the new armor is a tad bigger, I'll research exoskeletons so I can throw one in. I'll also research everything up to personal laser defense. A single exoskeleton is only a 20% speed boost, but it's still nice to have. Now we can start automating the actual tech cards. And there we go! Slight problem, we can't use these tech cards in our current labs, so we need to upgrade them all to advanced labs. But we can't use the basic tech cards in the advanced labs, so before we upgrade all of them, I'll research everything that requires the basic tech cards in the background. While I wait for all that random stuff to research, I'll cobble together a new iron mine just south of the base. I'll also surround the mine with air purifiers. I don't remember why I was driving around, but I could not for the life of me fit between these two cliffs. Woo, please fix. There we go. I haven't built all the miners yet, but it'll do for now. And we're done with all the researches that require the basic tech cards. Now we can disconnect the production and swap military tech cards into their place. And after I reverse this belt, we just need to upgrade all the labs. Making 41 of these new labs is not fast. Crafting them took a while. Let's take some of them for a spin. In this case, quite literally. And there we go. That's yellow tech cards and all the new labs. Now that I think about it, we've got 2 out of 3 ingredients for launching a rocket. But we aren't quite ready. We need purple tech cards to research the silo, and for those tech cards we need uranium, so I'll finish researching uranium processing. Once that's done, we can scout out our surroundings for uranium. There's a small patch to the north. In the background, I'll research logistics robots. It's time to start building our uranium drop-off station. I'll use some rail signals to make sure the trains don't kill each other. Mining uranium requires sulfuric acid, so I'll hook it up. Here's where we'll split off the main rail to head north, but I'm missing green circuits for rail signals, so I ran back to the train mall. Unfortunately, our sushi shenanigans have surely backfired, resulting in a surplus of copper plates, so I'll have to relocate the excess. Logistics robots are done. Unfortunately, this lights up my ADHD brain like a Christmas tree, so I'll take a major detour to set them up. After placing our first roboport, I'm informed that you can pick between different modes, either expanding your logistics area or construction area. That's pretty neat. I'll start placing passive provider chests everywhere, and then we can get to work on automating the logistics robots. While I wait for the rest of the logistics chests to be researched, I'll work on some of the prerequisites for purple tech cards. First up are red belts, and these assemblers kinda act like fidget spinners. Logistics system is done. I'll start researching purple tech cards while I finish setting up robot production. Using logistics chests will make this a piece of cake. And there we go, fully automated robots. With logistics robots being produced at a large scale, I'll throw down a bot-based mall. There's the tech card. Our new mall completely overshadows the wagon mall, so it's time to say goodbye. Next up in the research tree is rocket control units. Continuing the trend of automating anything and everything before uranium, I'll set up the productivity modules for purple tech. Small problem, power problems. We're not making enough petroleum for the gas power stations, which makes sense seeing as we only have 2 oil refineries, but don't fret, I'll whip together another 4 refineries. There we go. Back to procrastinating, we're running low on red circuits due to a shortage of green circuits. After expanding the green circuits, we now need more copper wire. I expand and upgrade the wire production several times, but it just leads to an endless battle of needing more wire. I'll postpone the war temporarily and finally get back on track. No pun intended. I ran into a few biters on my way there, and I even wrote a cringeworthy rap about it while I was editing. Now on my way to the uranium patch, I find a few biters at a dispatch. Using bolts, turret creeping, and guns galore, I clear my way up to the coastal shore. After fighting off some more of those biter attacks, I scroll up on the huge world's mini-map. What's this? Oh, it's more biters I see. Good thing they're just a lock and my gun's the key. Once we finally arrived, I was pleasantly surprised when I started to take radiation damage. Although it did get a bit annoying after a while. While my Geiger counter continued to inform me that I would be a mutant by next Tuesday, I set up uranium mining. Originally, I was planning to run just the pump off of solar temporarily and run a power line back to the main base. But then I realized that running the entire mine off of solar wouldn't be too hard, and more importantly, would look cooler. So while I handcrafted some solar panels, I ran back to the base to resupply. After a few more trips back and forth, we've got enough efficiency modules and solar panels to run this sucker purely off of silicon's hatred for sunlight. Stick a few accumulators on there, and we can run all night too. Slight issue, we aren't going to run a belt of air filters out this far, so I'll just have to wash the filters on site. Once I'm done setting up the filters and throwing in more efficiency modules, we can head back home with some uranium ore. Back at the base, we can set up the unloaders, and then try to figure out why we're out of sulfuric acid. Turns out I accidentally ran 2 underground pipes in line with each other. After fixing that sad attempt at pipe sushi, we'll run over to the rare metals mine to add some filters to it. That'll work. Rocket control units are done. Next up are speed module 2s. Then productivity module 2s. Now we can do efficiency 2. Speed module 3s take purple tech cards, which we still don't have, so I'll research worker robot speed instead. Centrifuges take concrete, which I have neglected to automate thus far, so I'll get started on that right after I fix our coal shortage. Also, there's another level of worker robot speed. I'll go ahead and keep the ball rolling with another level of worker robot speed. Now let's start working on that concrete. Luckily, I already have some pretty decent brick production. But one assembler isn't going to cut it, so how about 7? That should hopefully be enough. Now, our smelting array is currently quite the bottleneck, but luckily I could just upgrade all the furnaces to steel ones for a 2x speed boost. That speed boost means nothing if I can't supply the ore fast enough though, so I'll upgrade the copper mine to level 2 mining drills. I'll also upgrade to red belts in strategic spots. Back to uranium, I'll finally start setting up the centrifuges. Looks like processing the uranium now has a chance to output some byproducts, so I'll adjust my setup accordingly using some splitters. After plugging it in and throwing in some speed modules, we managed to get some uranium-235 in our first batch. Rare metal refining stopped. Looks like we're backing up on dirty water, so I'll bodge a second filtration plant in here. With all my side tangents done, we've now got all the ingredients for purple tech cards. After running a belt of 238 up and slamming down some research servers, we're done. Now we just need to research level 3 speed and productivity modules, then the silo. But let's not research it ill-prepared. Let's set up rocket control units first. Luckily, we can just throw speed module production on top of productivity production. But it seems that blue circuit production is starved of red circuits, which is in turn starved of green circuits, which is in turn starved of, yet again, copper wire. The war continues. I'll expand copper wire production again, and use the extra headroom to squeeze out just a few more green circuits. Looks good to me. Turns out we were a tad light on iron plates before, so we need to expand copper wire yet again. Now we're low on wire for red circuits, and with no room to expand, I just pipe some in from green circuit production. And thus we are losing the war on wire again. Time to expand even more. Copper wire looks good again, but now we're low on wood. I'll throw down a few more greenhouses, and by a few, I mean 10. After routing the wood through the pipe pasta, we start having power issues again, so I'll add a few more gas generators. Next, I'll upgrade iron ore mining and enrichment. Our increased red circuit production outpaces our electronic components, so we need to get some more silica for our silicon. I'll set up a secondary filtration plant for more quartz. We aren't making enough sand for quartz, and once we fix that, the problems move up the chain again. Now we don't have enough plastic, so I'll add 4 more chemical plants. Now we've got a bit of a surplus, so I'll expand electronic component production. We still aren't keeping up with productivity production, so I'll expand that too. I'm just upgrading things for fun at this point, so here's some more blue circuit production. And now we've got a steel shortage due to a lack of iron plates. I'll just change the splitter priority. We can deal with the iron plates later. Let's get back on track for a bit and set up rocket control units. I finished researching Speed Module 3s and Productivity Module 3s, now we just need to research the silo. In my secondary furnace array, I had saved room for an easy upgrade to electric furnaces, but now I've decided they're not really worth it right now, so I'll remove the gaps and add more steel furnaces. And more furnaces require more ore, so I'll expand the ore enrichment some more. Now we're low on copper, and when I say low, I mean low. Our patch has completely dried up. Luckily, there's another patch a tad more south. I'll run the air filter belt around the new patch, and then we can start extracting that ore. The single solar panel in my power armor isn't quite keeping up with my roboport, so I think it's time to research the portable nuclear reactor. But first I need to research the regular reactor. There we go, and while we wait for the portable one to research, I'll finish building the air filter belt. I totally forgot about it, and the pollution triggered an attack. I'll place a ton more air filters to clean up the pre-existing pollution. Personal laser defense is super handy. There's the portable reactor. These are actually surprisingly cheap. Next up is Kovarax enrichment.
But Jaden, we need to launch a rocket.
We'll get there. But first I gotta take yet another side tangent to get Mark II power armor, because this little power armor, too small for my nuclear reactor. These biter bases expanded a bit too close to the base for my liking, so unfortunately they must die. There we go, no more looming threat. Power production has died again, so it's time to chuck in some speed modules, add a pump, and double up production. It takes a little bit to stabilize, but we're back up and running. Military 4 is done. Now we can start working on the power armor itself. Rocket control units have been stockpiling in the background for a while now. Hopefully I can use these all eventually. But right now our science is being limited by low density structure, so I'll blow up some cliffs and build more. I lost 5 minutes of footage and somehow we're done researching power armor. The suit takes a lot of level 2 modules, but fortunately I can just spam the heck out of them with bots. By the way, the level 2 power armor is the last side tangent, I promise. Now that I've got most of the modules, I'll just handcraft the remaining 4, and we've got Mark II power armor. After some kijiggering, I can fit another exoskeleton and roboport. Back to science, we're low on yellow tech cards due to blue circuits missing rare metals. Looks like the pipes have backed up again. I've been clearing them occasionally off camera, but I'll finally rebuild the pumps and the chemical plants so they don't clog anymore. Now we're low on sand due to a stone shortage, so I'll rebuild the mine with level 2 miners. We're short on red circuits again, so it's time to expand it even more. Here's a lesson in the dangers of belt weaving. Upgrading undergrounds can seriously mess things up, but we were lucky in this case. Blue circuit stopped yet again, this time because of sulfuric acid. That's understandable, seeing as we only have one acid plant. I'll build a completely oversized array of acid plants to support it. There we go. Now our limiting factor is rocket fuel. I'll spam some more atmospheric condensers and rearrange the bot mall to fit more fuel refineries. And there we go, the rocket silo is finally researched. I just bit my tongue, ow. Gathering all the resources to make the silo is easy, except for steel. We aren't making any coke right now due to a coal shortage, so I'll have to set up a new mine for coal before we can do anything else. After connecting the new mine and upgrading the belts, we've finally got enough steel for the silo. Now we'll just place it, mod it, and hook up the materials. Rocket fuel is definitely going to be our bottleneck, so I'll have to upgrade it again. In the process of upgrading it, I seem to have somehow mixed the fluid systems together, so I'll just tear everything down and start from scratch. Good as new, but still not fast enough. Yes, I could totally bring light oil over here and make it the easy way, but what's the fun in that? After I finish rerouting the uranium belt, we still don't have enough nitrogen. Good thing speed modules exist. Really? That's still not enough? Fine, more condensers. And that's still not enough. But I don't care anymore. I can wait. Speaking of waiting, we're only 9% of the way there, so I'll spend my free time setting up uranium enrichment. Which also makes stone. Gotta love byproducts. Genuinely, I do like the byproducts and they add a bit more challenge to the design process, but when it's in such small quantities, you can usually just ignore it. Does anyone know of a mod pack that makes byproducts a pain in the ass besides Pyanodon? Pyandodon? How do you pronounce this? Anyways, uranium enrichment is up and running. Hopefully I can find a use for it later on. I handcrafted some level 3 productivity modules, so hopefully this rocket will finish soon. Unfortunately, I realized that satellites are actually quite far off. There's a few things that need to be automated before we can even unlock them. But I will be launching this sucker anyways. I can't let it leave empty-handed, so I'll throw a fish in there. Why did I get a dolphin? Let's christen the base with concrete to celebrate our first rocket launch. Immersite seems to be a pretty common late game ingredient, so now's probably a good time to set it up. We're out of stone due to our stone mine running out of, well, stone. And we just lost all game audio. Nice. There's another tiny stone patch below the base, and we can use that temporarily while we find a more permanent solution. The Immersite quarry is done. Next up is AI cores. They seem to also be slightly important. After gathering all the resources for a quarry, we can throw it northeast to the coal patch. Very convenient that all the resources are right here. Before we do that, we should probably enclose it in air filters. While I wait for those belts to build, we can hook up the quarry. After hooking it up, we've got a immersite on one side of the belt. There we go. Now we can finish placing all the air filters and remove the old belt. Next, we need to start refining the immersite into immersite crystals, and for that, we'll need immersite powder, so I'll set up another crusher. Thankfully, the loaders have filters, so this is pretty easy. After connecting the belt, we've got the powder. I'll route the sand over to the other crushers, and let's figure out how to turn that powder into crystals. Looks like we'll need sulfuric acid and nitric acid. That's new. Nitric acid is made of rare metals, ammonia, and mineral water. Now, where do I find mineral water? Looking at the map, I don't see any mineral water anywhere, so it's time to go exploring. I very quickly got in over my head with some biters and lost my car. And since I haven't paid for auto insurance since 2012, I quickly fled the scene and got another one. After driving by quite a few nests, I lost my car yet again. I still haven't found any mineral water. Back home, I check the tips and tricks for any information about mineral water and come up dry. So back to wandering around looking for it. A ton more exploring later, and I still haven't found anything. But AI cores are done researching, so that's cool. Even more wandering later, I finally found some mineral water. I'll clear out the nearby biters and start running a pipe back to the base. Once I've completed said pipe, let's set up the pump jacks. I'll put a big tank on the other end of the pipeline, so it's fine if it only runs during the day. Now it's time to set up ammonia. I'll build something bigger when I know the ratios, but for now, I don't need very much. I'll run the immersite powder up, then we can get started on nitric acid. Here's that big tank of mineral water I was talking about earlier. I'll run the rare metals up, and now we've got a tiny amount of nitric acid. I'll set up the chemical plants, and now we have immersite crystals. In the background, I unlocked these advanced radars. They're pretty cool as they allow us to cover the entire base with one radar. I'm going to cancel our research as it is so mind-bogglingly slow that there's no point in continuing. We desperately need stone, and all of the bigger stone patches are quite far away. So it's time to change tactics. Yes, that's right. It's finally time to start building actual defenses. Due to putting it off for so long, we don't have to worry about boring old gun turrets. We can skip them and go straight to laser turrets. I want my wall design to be based on Factorio's 32 by 32 grid for easy snapping. Oh, and I'll research substations to make this blueprint a bit prettier. And now I finally notice that OBS isn't recording any sound. Understandably, this makes me very angry. Finally, sound is back. The straight wall blueprint looks pretty good, so now I'll build the outside corner. I'm going for a more brutalist style wall, as opposed to the curvy walls from the Green Circuit series. There's the outer corner done. Now it's time to do the inner corner. Rails don't curve quite this tight, so I'll have to make a little loop that goes outside of the chunk. This wall is super overbuilt for our current defense needs, so I'll trim it down and use a lighter version that we can upgrade later. Concrete is stealing all of our brick production. I'll shut it off so we can make more walls. Speaking of walls, let's take those new blueprints for a test run. Now we just need to sit back and wait for the roboports to be placed. It would be nice to see what's going on next to the walls, so I'll add a sentinel to the blueprints. I enclosed some stone with the new wall, so let's set up another mining patch. New mine means new train station. I'll set that up. I'll run a belt over to the stone input. Hopefully that should help speed science back up. These biter bases are decently close to the wall, but I think we'll be fine. Power consumption is slowly climbing. Hopefully the new solar panels and accumulators will be enough to offset it. I'll run a secondary belt for maximum stonage. More laser turrets. We've now got more stone than we can consume, and we're still low on bricks, so it's time for a dedicated brick smelter. Here I fix accidentally mixing the belts, and then I mix them again and walk away without noticing. With loaders, wall production is pretty easy. Having some higher tiered modules could come in handy later, so I'll set up a few assemblers for that. We aren't getting enough batteries for laser turret production. I'll build some more. The test wall is almost complete, and I'm quite satisfied with it. I'm going to make this little grid blueprint to make connecting new walls to our power and bot grid a lot easier. I started working on the south wall, but that project is short-lived because we have a major problem on our hands: power production. I'll build a tileable solar panel setup, but I can't build any right now due to resource shortages. We're low on iron due to a fluid backup of dirty water, which is backed up due to the filtration plants being backed up on clean water. I'll add another flare stack. Now we're making more enriched iron than we can smelt, so in a classic move, I'll completely ignore our power problems for now and expand our iron smelting array. This new smelting array fits pretty nicely over here, and I didn't even measure it. After hooking up the iron, coal, and setting up the recipes, it's up and running. There's not an easy way to snake the iron onto the bus, so I'll have to go up and around the lake to sneak it in later. And would you look at that, the consequences of my actions. Our petroleum production is easily affected by our power production, so once we start to dip, it's basically game over. And since offshore pumps need power, we can't even use steam engines. I'll attempt to remedy this by putting efficiency modules in the oil refineries and chemical plants that are dedicated to petroleum, and then I'll disconnect the entire thing from the main electrical network so we can run it off of solar power. But now our oil pump jacks have stopped as well, so I'll disconnect that and add solar to it as well. I forgot about the offshore pump. After isolating everything essential to power production onto its own separated power networks, we get about a 50% duty cycle for power during the day, which is fine. But the moment it becomes night, we don't have enough petroleum to support all the generators, so it's time to make a secondary oil refining setup. With the secondary setup up and running, the accumulators are actually starting to charge up, so hopefully we shouldn't have to worry about power for a while. Never mind. I think it's time to continue our path of world domination, so let's clear out some more biters. I pushed a bit too hard here and died, but luckily my turrets were able to take out the rest of the behiders on my behalf. After recovering my body and massacring more biters, let's start setting up our southwestern wall. A bit of walking and pasting later, the wall's all blueprinted. Now we just need to wait. While we wait on that, I'll throw a second belt down for more iron ore. Whoa, that's a lot of walls, but not a lot of concrete. I'll throw the excess bricks over to concrete production. Still no satellite for the rocket. Bummer. Back to wall building. I'll manually place the roboports to help speed up the process. I can also speed up the video to speed up the process. Next up is our northwest wall. Right after making the turn to head east, this biter nest absolutely destroys me, so I come back with grenades. That did not work. How about poison capsules, guns, grenades, and fish spam? There we go. I want a Spidertron. Badly. But there's more to research before we can build one, so I'll work my way towards fusion energy. Copper supply is lacking, which leads me to finally discover the stone being mixed into the ore enrichment plants. Once that's fixed, we're good as new. Power is still cripplingly low, by the way, but we can ignore it and just go back to working on the wall. I made some more personal laser defenses, and now guns are merely a suggestion. We're now done blueprinting the northwest wall, so let's finish the southeastern one. There we go, time to wait yet again. Power is still a major issue. Let's try to finally fix that. Literally 1984. Let's try solving our power problems with yet another steam power plant. Old habits die hard, so I did the wrong ratio again. After building the whole thing and hooking it up, I am very disappointed in the relatively tiny amount of power it provides. And you know what? It's time for a real solution. We're switching to nuclear. Thanks to Nilaus for this 4-reactor build. I can highly recommend his base in a book and masterclass blueprint books that are scattered around the internet. Let's tear down this stupid steam power and start automating the pieces we'll need for the reactors. Also, I'm slightly modifying his design to use robots for uranium delivery. There's one reactor. There's two. It's not even near fully built yet, but we're producing enough power to finally not worry about blackouts. While it finishes building in the background, I am a bit curious. Will I get something special if I launch the Dolphin back into space? Nah, it's a waste of a rocket. Maybe later. And later is now, let's go. Oh man. The walls are all finishing in the background, and fusion energy is done. We are barely using any of the iron, or it turns out we've got a shortage of sulfuric acid. A lot of petroleum is being consumed in the gas generators, and with our new nuclear power plant, we don't really need them anymore. So let's just get rid of them. Portable fusion is done. Next up is efficiency module 3s. Enriched iron production is still slower than a headless chicken crossing a road made of molasses. Turns out our oil refineries are out of oil, and we're out of oil because we're out of oil. 2 of our pump jacks have completely dried up, so let's go get some more. There's a pretty dense oil field to our south. Let's surround it with roboports and then we can get cracking. I'll hook all the pumps together into one of these huge tanks so we can stockpile the oil while we build the pipes. After laying some mad pipe, the refineries are back up to speed. And now we've got more sulfur, and thus more sulfuric acid. Ore washing is back up to full speed. Research has basically stopped. We're out of purple tech cards, and purple tech cards are out of red belts. Having gears on the bus has bitten us in the butt. Our red belt assemblers are starved. Gear production is also starved because those darn green circuits are eating all of the plates. I'll put some localized gear production. That should do the trick. After fixing a few misplaced inserters and force-feeding the research server some red belts, we've got purple science again. Efficiency modules are done. Now we can start researching the Spidertron itself. And we're out of purple science again. It's the belts again. All of the iron plates from the secondary smelter are being turned directly into steel plates, and a lot of them are being consumed by the bot-based maw, so I don't think they're going to back up anytime soon. I'll remove the priority from the steel plates. Still not enough belts, and we're also running out of Blink tech cards. Once again, it's Green Circuit's fault. They're stealing all of the iron plates from the Blink cards, so no more priority for it either. But guess who loves overkill solutions? This guy. Let's put together an entire additional iron smelting array. Nothing in life is good without balance. In this case, 5 to 2. The old design for ore enrichment was cool and all, but I want to try making a slightly different design. Now, unfortunately, I neglected to make it actually work, so I spent a bunch of time designing a design that was completely and utterly useless. Pasted it down and fully built the whole thing before I realized the mistake. With the shocking revelation that you can't use multiple underground pipes in a line with different fluids, I tore down the new design and reluctantly went back to the old one. After building a smelting array and hooking it all up, it's ready to go. Except we don't have any belts to finish making it with. A tale as old as time. I need iron to make iron. After scavenging enough iron to get some belts placed, we start to smelt, albeit a small amount. Good thing we can rely on good old trickle-down beltonomics. Plates to gears, gears to plates, and belts to belts. Slowly but surely, all the belts are placed. Now we can deconstruct our temporary production and move an incredibly overbuilt amount of iron into our purple science red belt production. And we're researching again. Yeah, this is way too much iron. Oh, since we've got walls now, we don't need the filters anymore, so we can tear those all down. Now we've got a shortage of green circuits for productivity modules. We need even more iron for the circuits. We just made more iron, but nobody in their right mind would run a belt that far. Now we're actually starting to put that new smelter to use. We've got green circuits again. Still not quite enough prod mods, so here's some more. We're still low on blank tech cards somehow, but it looks like I just accidentally disconnected copper plates. That's an easy fix. Prod mod stopped again. This time it's because we're out of electronic components due to a lack of silicon. So let's up our silica production. I won't get into the gritty riddles, but I hope you can sand some rough jokes. After upgrading our quartz production, it's pretty clear that should be enough. Now we're low on glass, which is great because I get to make more painful jokes. I'll put it off for now, and I'll fix it when the cracks start to show. Science production is looking pretty good now. It's not a problem quite yet, but we're slowly running out of copper for low density structure. And that's because all of our extra copper is being chucked into this chest. But where are these bots taking it? Oops, I still had the heat exchangers and turbines automated. I'll tear that down. Evidently that was the issue. Now we've got a steady flow of copper, but Purple Science is out of prod mods yet again. And yet again, it's because of the electronic components. Time to fix the glass. Our current glass production is tiny, so let's build another one. After some horrid belt shenanigans, it's all hooked up now, and I managed to build that entire smelter without cracking a single glass joke. Wait, that still wasn't quite enough glass though, so I threw down even more smelters. That'll do. Yellow tech cards are running out of low density structure, not due to shortages this time, just not enough assemblers. I'll paste some more. And finally, we've got the Spidertron researched. Now we just need to build this sucker. The recipe looks pretty normal besides the fusion reactor and the AI cores. AI cores require nitric acid, so I can't handcraft them, but one assembler should do the trick. The rest of the items don't have any weird quirks, so I'll just use bots for them. We don't have any tier 3 efficiency modules, so I'll use bots to build the correct ratio of them and crank out a few. And there it is, our first Spidertron. And man, I can't wait to take it for a dry... Wait. Apparently the Spidertrons require fuel. I guess since it doesn't require a fish anymore, they can't use fission power. DT fuel cells don't look too difficult. They require tritium, empty DT cells, and heavy water. The empty cells are easy, it's just rare metals and low density structure. Tritium is a tad more complicated. It needs rare metals, lithium, and U-235. Well, let's do this one step at a time. Lithium is made in an electrolysis plant and requires lithium chloride. Oh, and water. The lithium chloride needs mineral water and hydrogen chloride. Mineral water is easy, it's nearby, but the hydrogen chloride is a different story. We use it to make enriched rare metals, but it's currently stopped due to a lack of sand. After changing the priority, it's up and running again. Making the hydrogen chloride is currently pretty wasteful. I never worked out a proper ratio, so these pumps are discarding a lot of the gases we need. I'll remove the pumps and just clear the tanks manually if it becomes an issue again. I plugged everything in, and now we just need water and heavy water. Unbelievably, heavy water is made from water, so that's easy to set up too. Although it is very slow. I forgot to remove the Spidertron assembler, and now we've got 2 extra ones. After a bit of waiting, we've got tritium, and we're making DT cells. After chucking them into the Spidertron, we're good to go. I was worried about how long these will last, but it looks like they actually last quite a while. Nice. I started filling the Spidertron with personal roboports that I made earlier, but unfortunately the DT cell just powers movement, not equipment. Might as well simplify fuel management and use a portable fusion reactor for power as well. Five roboports have a pretty good range, and they handle about 100 bots. This'll work great. I'm going to stockpile a few more DT fuel cells, and then we can start mass deconstruction. That's right, we're starting over. Shoot, I forgot to launch another fish before deconstructing the rocket. This deconstruction planner should leave all of the power poles intact, so hopefully we won't accidentally disconnect anything. The nuclear plant is staying though, at least for now. Deconstructing an entire base takes a bit longer than I expected, but I only did have about 1,700 robots. Most of the base is gone now, and I'll also deconstruct the solar panel grids. I made some landfill and filled in 2 of the lakes as well. Now I'll start deconstructing all the power poles and roboports so I can place a roboport grid across the entire base's area. This disconnected the walls from the nuclear power plant, so I'll quickly plug them back in. We ran out of substations and roboports, so I'll make some more of those with the buffers left over from the base. We ran out of steel plates and red circuits, so we can't expand the grid anymore. I'll cancel all the ghosted building and tear down the assemblers. We need to decide how many lanes of copper and iron we'll want. I picked 6 lanes of each, purely because it divides evenly between the substations. This lake is kinda in the way, so we should probably start the bus a bit further back. Before we set up iron or copper production, let's make some concrete. I was using my upgrade planner on the miners, and it turns out there's a second tier of substation. Oh well, too late. Now let's mine the iron for the concrete. Okay, time to smelt the stone into bricks. So, I never researched electric furnaces. Luckily, it doesn't look too expensive, and I should have enough science laying around in storage to research it. I think it's safe to say we've got enough. Cool, let's tear down the labs and start making some furnaces. With those being slowly produced, I'll whip up a silly design for brick production and hook it up. Now we can set up the actual concrete production. This setup works just fine, but it's kinda boring. Let's try something else. Recently, I've been having a lot of fun with these tiny tileable designs, and thus I redesigned the concrete production. With enough concrete production to pave a small city every 12 minutes, let's start working on iron smelting. 6 lanes sure is a daunting task, but since we don't need the full capacity immediately, let's just work on 1 lane for now. Although I will test to make sure we can fit all the smelters here. And they do fit, so we're good. For now, I only need a little bit of iron, so let's skip ore washing temporarily. We ran out of substations and roboports again, and unfortunately we can't really expand without them. Time to make some more, but I'm out of copper wire, so time to make copper wire, but now I'm out of red circuits, so time to make red circuits, but now I'm out of steel, so time to make steel, but now I'm out of red circuits again, so it's time to make more red circuits, but now I'm out of copper wire again, so time to make copper wire, but now I'm out of steel, so time to make steel. The iron smelter is up and running, we're slowly filling the belts. But I'm out of copper plates, so time to deconstruct everything and make copper plates. Building at this massive scale is kind of intimidating, not gonna lie. Oh, also keep in mind there's no way I could possibly feed all of these smelters with these little patches of ore nearby, so I'll definitely need to bring in the ore with trains later. And there we go, we're making copper. Not very much in the grand scheme of things, but at least we're making some. Now it's time to set up ore washing. Washing the ores in the chemical plants is actually quite fast. You only need 16 plants per belt. We need sulfuric acid to wash the ores, so let's go set oil back up. Even bigger tank this time. After piping it around, let's set everything up over by this coal patch for easy plastic production. Continuing with the theme of just guessing production amounts, I'll build enough plastic for 2 red belts. That's a lot of refineries. Let's get cracking on cracking. We'll crack the heavy oil down into light oil, then re-crack the cracked oil into petroleum. 32 chemical plants and some coal later, we're almost done setting it up. After hooking up oil and water, it turns out I built most of the refineries out of alignment. After rebuilding the refineries and running some more pipes, we've got plastic. Iron, copper, and plastic. What's next? Wood. It still feels strange putting wood on the bus, but 2 lanes should do the trick. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Instead of just mixing the belts earlier, I decided to balance each individual belt and then stick it into a 6-to-2 balancer. This is stupid. Oh well, it's basically done. I just need to wait for all the greenhouses to be built. Imaginary wood is now on the bus. Oh yeah, ore washing. Should probably finish that. A bunch more oil refineries and chemical plants later, we can set up sulfur and then sulfuric acid. But I need iron plates for the acid, and we don't have any belts to get it over here, so let's set up belt production. A couple wacky designs later, we've got belts. Let's finish the ore washing setups for copper and iron before we plug in the sulfuric acid. After connecting everything up and hand feeding a few iron plates to test it, we're washing the ore. I'll swap the recipes around and we've got plates again. Slight problem, dirty water is backing up, but we can just burn it off for now. Now we can get started on steel production. Let's make some room. I'm aiming to make 2 belts of steel, so this will be yet another huge setup. Time for coke. Thankfully, its production isn't too complicated, so we can just produce it locally instead of smuggling it in from other countries. Let's steal coal from plastic production, split it, and then grab wood off the bus. Don't forget to set the recipes. Oh, speaking of wood, we still don't have any. And speaking of not having any, iron production has stopped. Looks like we somehow disconnected our oil supply. I'll hook it back up and then finish a line of coke's wood. With the wood starting to trickle in, coke is done. And while we wait for the CIA to send me a check in the mail, let's hook up the iron plates. While belting the plates around, power died. We ran out of nuclear fuel cells. That's fine, we've got a decent amount of processed uranium in storage. I'll just throw down an assembler. It takes a minute, but we've got power back. A few substations later, and we've got steel. I'll chuck it in a chest for now. We're out of base supplies again. Time for another bot mall. Except this is ugly. Let's make it look prettier. That's better. After placing the rest of the chemical plants for ore washing, we're output limited. I'll move the input belt to the middle. And now we're input limited. A second belt should do the trick. There we go, full belt of output. Now I'll rebuild the copper side. I needed more substations, and for some reason I thought it was a good idea to just deconstruct these ones. Let's see how long it takes me to realize that oil's been disconnected. I'll put steel on the bus, then we can fix that dumb wood splitter. It's time for some green circuits. Let's make 4 belts of them. I was originally going to use this side split design, but it looked extra dumb. I'll go with something a bit more traditional. I'm not sure how many times we'll have to tile this build vertically, and I'm worried about running into the lake. So let's make some landfill. Yeah, not much to see here. I happened to pass the nuclear setup, and it looks like we're out of fuel again. We ran out of 238, but we've got a decent amount of uranium ore chilling in storage, so we can put off the mining for a bit longer. Back up and running. It's green circuit time, and wouldn't you believe it, the assemblers fit perfectly. Each one of these towers makes 2 belts of green circuits. This looks super silly, but hey, it works. Time to plug it all in. Oh shoot, I forgot to switch every other inserter to fill both sides of the belt. I'll fix that. There we go. Now I'll bring all 4 belts down to the bus, and we're done. Now let's do red circuits. Yeah, we don't have any stone on the bus. I'll mine some, and then we can just squeeze it into the middle of the bus. Okay, now we can crush it all into sand. Yeah, that's a lot of sand. And now we get to make a bunch of quartz. Like, a lot of quartz. 2 belts of quartz. And we'll turn that 2 belts of quartz into 1 belt of silicon. Then the other 8 crushers worth of sand will be smelted into glass. After running a belt of plastic over here, we've got everything we need for electronic components, so let's whip them together. 3 belts go in, 1 belt comes out. There's the oil pipe. Took long enough. After expanding the bus a bit more, we can start working on the circuits. I built this way too long. We wouldn't have been able to feed the whole thing, so let's split it into 4 parts. Then I'll design this ridiculous distribution head, paste it, modify it, and start hooking up all the resources. Done. Now we just need to wait for the bots to place all the belts. And there's our first red circuits. Would you look at that? We're out of uranium ore. Glad I caught it early this time. Luckily, the uranium outpost is a sovereign state, so we can just renegotiate trade agreements with it. The real problem is figuring out where to put the rails. I'll route it directly over green circuits so we can unload next to the centrifuges. After doing a loop-de-loop around the uranium centrifuges, I'll set up a station. I'm feeling a tad lazy. I'll bring the sulfuric acid over with bots. Here's our first delivery. Man, I love loaders. Now that the uranium is taken for a spin and then spun, we should be good on power for the foreseeable future, hopefully. Now we just need to wait around for the rest of the belts to be produced, placed, and then we're all done. 4 belts of red circuits. Hopefully that'll last a while. Next up is blue circuits, but we don't have any room to build them. We're getting pretty darn close to this lake, so it's time to start filling it in. Small issue though, if we fill in the lake, there isn't any walls protecting us from biters, so we'll have to build some new walls too. Luckily for us, if we take a look at storage, we've got a lot of walls on hand already, so no need to automate them. There's a few things we need to work on before expanding. For example, only one side of our copper belt is being filled. It looks like I somehow managed to swap all the recipes on the bottom furnaces to iron. I'm just glad the enriched ore didn't end up on the belts. Next up is explosions, then explosives. We're going to use the explosives to make rockets for the Spidertron to help with expansion. Just a few more. I can stop whenever I want, I promise. Since we want these rockets to be actually useful, I'll set up a temporary lab and research stronger explosives. Biters are starting to actually damage the walls. I'll just upgrade this part of the wall and hope for the best. Stronger explosives is done. Let's take these rockets for a spin. I am extremely disappointed. The shooting speed is super slow. The rockets feel more akin to a toy than a weapon. They do supplement my personal laser defense a tad at range, so I guess that's nice. I was hoping that using a slowly shrinking spiral pattern around the bases would make taking them out less tedious, but it ended up just not working at all. Time to start building that wall. I turned on my personal Roboport to repair the Spidertron, but I forgot I also had some building materials on me. This did not make the biters happy. Now the path is completely clear for the wall, but there's still a few internal nests that we need to deal with. Now let's start filling up that lake. Now for the next wall, but before we can get started on that, let's set up some minor bot production to replenish the ones that got killed in action. Their sacrifice will be forever remembered until I forget about it. Let's get those biters. This nest is easy, but then we have to move on to Big Bertha here. Oh boy. I tried that spiral strategy again, but it had a predictable outcome. Several minutes later, that huge nest is gone. Let's blueprint that wall. There we go, now all the bots will get to work. I'll throw down a radar too. Now I'll head home and we can start working on making more landfill. This little patch we're using isn't quite fast enough, so how about another patch? We'll have to make a little bump in the wall, but that's fine. While I was casually looking around the base, some biters managed to destroy the uranium train. Guess we'll have to surround it with walls too. Back to that stone patch, we'll cover it in miners and stuff all the output into this one assembler. Looks like there's 2 recipes for landfill. Let's just go with the old-fashioned recipe. We're mining faster than we can craft, so time for a second assembler and some speed modules. Robot production also stopped. We're out of electric engines, but we can make some more. Slight problem is we don't have any lubricant production, so I'll steal some heavy oil and make a little. Barrels make fluid delivery so convenient. I love them so much. And now we're making electric engines. I also whipped together some battery production for laser turrets. And our new east wall is basically done. Let's start tearing down the old one. I made a new fluid tank for the uranium ore train, and now it's back up and running. It'd probably be nice to have some decent modules on hand, so I'll use bots to automate all 3 kinds and all 3 levels. Then I'll chuck some speed modules into the landfill stone patch down south. Waiting for landfill is driving me bonkers. After upgrading the assemblers to speed module 3s, that should hopefully speed up production quite a bit. At this point, I think our lack of bots might become the bottleneck. So I'll cancel the lake of landfill and focus on filling in only the important bottom part for now. Let's extend the bus. Man, these biters on the landfill production are brutal. I've got to upgrade over here too. Might as well upgrade the entire wall while I'm at it. Okay, let's finally get started on blue circuits. First up is rare metals. We're going to need a lot of it, and I want to make 1 red belt of blue circuits, so 2 belts of rare metals is required. But before worrying about any of the other complications of washing the ores, let's just build a huge smelter. 96 electric furnaces. Now we need to wash that ore. Let's get started on the refineries. 3 belts of ore go in, 2 belts of refined come out. This build ends up being pretty long due to the underground belts in the middle, but it's only 30 refineries. Now we need to make the hydrogen chloride for washing the ores. We only need 10 refineries to make it, but that's not the hard part of this build. Now we need electrolysis plants to make the chlorine and hydrogen from water and sand. This is the hard part. We need 50 of these electrolysis plants, and to fill these plants with sand, we need 6 belts of sand. Yes, this design has 5 belts, I'll fix it later. To make those 6 belts of sand, we need 20 crushers, and their size makes them a pain to deal with. I'll hook them up in a way that looks nice, and then we have to start worrying about trains. Yep, we're going to deliver the stone for the crushers by train. Oh, and the rare metal, too. Fitting the train stations into this grid is a tad strange, but it doesn't look too bad. There's the stone station, time for the rare metal station. After repeating myself about hooking up stuff, let's place the trains and go hook up the mining outposts. Rare metals is easy because we've already built it. Gotta be careful to make sure the rails fit inside of the grid. Now let's go set up stone. I'm worried about output, and I don't really want to upgrade this for a while, so I'll put speed modules in all the miners. Stupid biters on the landfill wall again. They're a lot tougher than I give them credit for. I'll just spam more turrets willy-nilly inside of the walls. Let's finish that stone outpost. I'm able to fill the train with 11 loaders, but unfortunately I don't have a balancer that big, so I'll have to use a 3 to 4, then a 2 to 6, and a 2 to 5. Elegant, I know. After hooking up the rail and setting up the schedule on the stone train, we're good to go, as soon as I fix some broken signals. Did you know if a bot places a rail signal while you're on the rail, sometimes you stop dead in your tracks? Fun, right? After getting a load of stone, the crushers start crushing. Looks like there's a slight issue with my design though. Only one side of the belt is being filled. I'll fix that. After hooking up the water to the electrolysis plants, we've got chlorine and oxygen. Let's steal some of that chlorine and go get some rare metals. Well, the train left early, but hey, at least the signals are working. After upgrading all the miners and waiting for the train to come back, we've got a tiny load of rare metals. I'll hook the water up to the ore washing refineries, and now we've got enriched ores. A short trip through the oven later, we've got rare metals. Now we need to deal with the dirty water. Good thing we can just burn it off. The electrolysis plants make slightly more hydrogen than chlorine, so we'll have to burn some of that off too. Okay, now that we've got fully automated rare metals, we can start working on blue circuits. A few things to do first. We've got to put the rare metals on the bus, expand the bus, and then take out some of these darn biters attacking the landfill production. They're driving me nuts. With that done, rare metals will go on the bus next to steel plates. Then we can start designing the blue circuits. Thankfully, they aren't very complicated, just expensive. Oh, and this build will also be huge, but we're input limited by red circuits, so we can only make 3/4 of a red belt. But still, we need 160 assemblers. Design 1 looked good, but it was too fat to fit between the substations. Version 2 was a tile skinnier, but still a tile too wide. Version 3 was a lot smaller, but now it had belts that went under the assemblers, making it less dense. It would have worked fine, but it was way too big and just hilariously low density, so it got scrapped too. Design 4, instead of putting the belts under the assemblers, I instead put pipes between the inserters. This was a lot more compact, but I just didn't like its personality. And here we are, the 5th and final design. With underground pipes and belts down the middle, it's decently compact. This'll do. After pasting it a gazillion times, we just need to hook up all of its inputs. Unfortunately, after hooking it all up, this once beautiful design now resembles a popular Italian dish. With our tiny input of rare metals, we've got blue circuits. We're definitely going to need to up our mining capacity. Let's set up a huge lab. That should do, and it's time to automate something we don't even need anymore. Basic tech cards. Why am I building it, you may ask? Well, there's a fun reason actually. After setting up the copper wire, all we need now is wood. They call them basic for a reason, and it has nothing to do with a pH level above 7. I'm aiming for a full red belt of each science. Yes, that's probably impossible, but just let a man dream, okay? For a full red belt, we're going to need 160 assemblers for the tech cards. Good thing we can fit exactly 158 of them. I'll just move the rail so we can fit 2 more. All the tech cards will be delivered with bots for convenience. After hooking it up, we've got basically pointless tech cards. Next up is red tech cards. They need automation cores and blank tech cards. We need the same amount of assemblers for the red cards, so I'll do a little Control-C, Control-V, and swap the recipes. The blank cards are easy. 1 wire assembler can supply 4 tech card assemblers. Paste that 4 times and you've got a belt of blanks. Recently my grandpa told me he started shooting blanks, which is strange because he doesn't even own a gun. Next up is automation cores. We don't have gears on the bus because I was proven wrong recently, so I'll make them and sticks on site. After whisking that together and hooking it up with some copper, we've got automation cores. And as those cores work their way up the belt, we've got red tech cards. Time to move a slot over in the grid and set up green tech cards, but it looks like there's some mineral water right here.
Ammonia and mineral water. Now, where do I find mineral water? Looking at the map, I don't see any mineral water anywhere, so it's time.
Whatever, I'll just skip to the next slot in the grid and fill a tank with the mineral water since we don't need it right now. You guessed it, we need 160 assemblers again. And we can also steal the blank card production. Oh, there's 3 ingredients now. We can't use this assembler layout. Here's a new 3-belt design. Now we'll hook up the blanks and grab some green circuits from the bus. Time for some more gears. And that's green tech cards. Let's chest them. Oh, we're still filling in the lake, by the way. It's just taking a very long time. Next up is military tech cards. Technically, we can't fully automate them right now, but we'll still set them up after we fix iron supply issues. But let me get distracted a few times before we do that. Worker robot speed 5, laser shooting speed 1, laser damage 1. Here I try to call the Spidertron over, but he's dead. I sent him over to this nest earlier, and apparently he was not strong enough to defeat them. Rest in pieces. Guess I'll walk. Okay, iron time. There we go, a second belt of iron. Except, small problem, this belt balancer is output limited. It isn't pushing the full 2 belts through. I tried another design I found online, same result. Balancing the balanced output works. It's a silly solution for sure, but hey, it works. Okay, military card time. This one will be pretty complicated. We need electronic components, which aren't on the bus. Worse yet, we don't have glass or silicon on the bus either, so we'll have to make it all on site from sand. This'll be fun. Let's work from top to bottom. First up is electronic components, 3 input belts and 1 output. Shouldn't be too bad. 30 assemblers and plastic later, we're done with the easy part. By the way, the only reason we can't fully automate military cards is we don't have any biomass production, and we don't have biolabs unlocked, so it's a chicken and egg problem. Okay, time for glass and silicon. We need them in almost equal amounts, so I'll just interweave them. 15 furnaces of each. Now we need to place a bunch of filtration plants for quartz for silicon. I'll plug them into water, and now we need to make sand for all of them, plus the glass. 6 crushers, now I'll run the stone up. 4 more crushers for the glass's sand. There's glass production, now we just need to wait for silicon. Well, my inserters are misaligned, and now I'm putting sand on the quartz belt. Glad I caught it early. After fixing that, we've got everything we need for electronic components. Well, that's that. Now for the easy ones. Slight issue, we barely have any stone. Our bus is being fed off of this single mine, so we'll have to fix that later. But for now, we need some biter research data. It's an easy recipe, but it just needs a lot of assemblers. I'll request in all the biomass with bots. Now I just need steel. And coke. Well, we don't have a belt for that, so I'll have to run a new one. Also, where the heck is copper? Oh, I never reconnected it.
Oh, bad news.
What?
The biters are attacking the mineral water pipes.
Oh no. Anyway,
Let's steal the coke from steel production and run it over to military science. And that's biter data. And after a tad more waiting, there's military tech cards. Next up is blue tech cards, which yet again require glass, and a lot of it this time. Since our stone belt is so dry, let's steal from the stone drop-off for the rare metals. Back to 2 full belts. Unfortunately, we need 3 belts of stone for all the glass we need to make, but luckily we can just pretend we have it. 6 belts of sand. That's a lot. The column of crushers is almost as tall as the other tech cards. Now we need to smelt the glass, and here's the first design I came up with. Now, if you pay very close attention while I expand this to full size, you might notice a little detail. It sucks. This design has 2 more furnaces per row. That's about 2 more per row. After expanding this design to full size, it thankfully meets my density requirements. Let's hook it up. I thought about being a pain and bringing back the glass jokes, but I just couldn't stand for that. After balancing 6 into 3, we can start making the tech cards. Blue cards require sulfuric acid, so we're going to need a slight modification to our design. And by slight, I mean full redesign. After placing blanks yet again, let's start pasting the new design. Slight issue, the glass melters are in the way, so we'll have to slide over a slot. Slight issue again, this design is a lot less dense, so we need to split it into 2 halves. That's fine, I'll just have the resources go up one side and down the other. After connecting the tops and bottoms, let's hook up the glass. Then the blanks and the red circuits, which are magically here now. Now we just add the output, sit back, relax, and wait. Just kidding, I forgot sulfuric acid. There we go. Still waiting for these belts to be placed. Turns out our belt assemblers are starved of input. Good thing this single splitter can fix that. Finally, there's glass. And now we've got blue tech cards. Only 1/2 of one side is running due to missing belts, but it'll sort itself out eventually. Now let's research some stuff. First up is bioprocessing. That's cool and all, but it would take too much effort to automate bioproduction, so I'm not doing it right now. Also, I'm really mad that I had to make blue science this wide, but whatever. We're about to do a lot of research. Are you ready? Weapon shooting speed 4, landmines, refined flammables 1, defender, refined flammables 2, follower robot count 1, follower robot count 2, physical projectile damage 4, portable generator, braking force 1, personal battery mark 2, biofuel, lithium sulfur battery, reinforced plates, braking force 2, larger logistic containers, inserter capacity bonus 3, better robot battery, Tesla coil mining productivity 2, explosive rocketry, laser shooting speed 2, laser weapons damage 2, laser shooting speed 3, laser shooting speed 4, distractor, energy shield mark 2, tank, energy weapons damage 3, refined flammables 3, stronger explosives 3, discharge defense, energy weapons damage 4, follower robot count 3, physical projectile damage 5, weapon shooting speed 5, follower robot count 4. And that's all the research we can do with our current cards. Now let's make some purple tech cards. One of their main ingredients is productivity modules. I can already tell this is going to take a while. Unfortunately, the math does not work out in our favor here. To make a red belt of purple cards, we would need at least 10 belts of iron plates just for the red belts. Past me is very aware of this fact. Well, we can just scale the production back to 6 belts of total iron plate input. We'll still be able to get about 1,000 cards per minute. So I'll do some balancing and expand our building area. You know what? These bots are taking too long to construct all of this concrete. We need more. Let's take a slight detour and set up some construction robot production. I want to make 1 robot per second, so it shouldn't be too complicated. I'll hook up all these belts and then we can get designing. Now, did you catch that? That slight bit of hesitation? It means I don't believe in this design. I pasted a few more times, but it is pointless. The allure of a better design is calling, and we must heed. Tearing it down and starting over, let's use a more analytical approach. Each flying robot frame assembler needs the output of half of an electric engine assembler, so we can split it like so. And in turn, the electric engine assembler only needs 1 regular engine assembler, so let's put the engines side by side. Now, the fun part, hooking it all up in a way that makes somewhat sense. After fiddling with it for a while, this is the design I came up with. Paste that bad boy a few times, then cobble together some gears and pipes, and connect stuff up. Still need lube though, and delivering lube with bots for bot production is slightly tacky, so let's run a pipe. After connecting steel, we just need to worry about batteries and electronic components. Batteries are pretty easy, we only need 10 chemical plants. After hooking up the sulfuric acid and snaking the copper plates through, we've got batteries. Now for electronic components. I really wish I would have put some on the bus. Oh well, let's get started. I forgot to smelt the quartz. And now we're making flying robot frames. And there we go. Once all the assemblers warm up, that's 1 bot a second. These inserters will add bots to the network to ensure that we always have around 10,000 construction robots available. Okay, back to purple cards. I was trying to craft the research servers we'll need for the cards, but it looks like we're out of electronic components. Weird. Oh, we stopped producing them. Oh, we're out of stone. Well, since we're already stealing from the stone train, might as well go all in. I'll flip this side of the belt around. That'll fix it. Time for the research servers. We'll need 60 of them. Keeping up with tradition, I'll steal the Blink Tech card design yet again. Okay, now let's make those belts. There's nothing awfully special about this build, it's just a plain old boring design. But boring is boring, so let's do something less conventional. Let's put a group of assemblers in a line with respect to their ratios. With a little bit of belt weaving, we can output in line. With a wacky belt to put iron on one side of the belt, that's one segment done. After doubling it and giving it to the next slot, and repeating that 3 more times, that's our red belt of red belts. Now we just need to hook up all 6 belts of iron plates. There we go, we've got red belts. I'll hook those up. Also, yes, I know you're probably yelling at your phone right now that we don't have enough iron plate production. Yes, I know. We might never be able to saturate the space, but hey, it's fun to build huge. Remember earlier how I said we were going to need 10 belts of iron, so we scaled back to 6? Yeah? Well, now we need 6 belts of stone, and that's also not going to happen. But instead of scaling back this time, I'll just pretend we have 6 belts. I'm also starting to realize how undersized my base is. I'm going to make another inline design like the red belts for the electronic components. You've seen it a million times, but let's walk through it yet again. Crushers, glass furnaces, filtration plants, silicon furnaces. The assemblers were a bit tricky to fit compactly, but I eventually settled on this belt weaving design. I just realized I forgot to add an output. Whoops. There we go. Now I'll run plastic in, hook up the stone, and now we just need to paste this monster build 4 more times. Unfortunately, the belt production is in the way, and the lake is also in the way. So I'll landfill that sucker and then just paste what we can. While we wait for the bitrate storm to pass, I'll start hooking up water and other resources. Then I'll start hooking up the outputs. Construction is waiting on belts, but luckily I know where I can steal some. Now let's get started on productivity modules. 3 belts of green circuits and 5 belts of electronic components. Unfortunately, this was way too long. I can only fit 1/3 of the build here, so I'll just have to stack it. But now the ratios are wrong, so I'll redesign it real fast. But it's still too long. Time for more landfill. I took a quick look at our iron production, and it looks like we're not consuming the ore at full speed. And I'm too lazy to build a better balancer, so here's the quick and dirty solution. Does it look stupid? Yes. Does it work? Also yes. Now that I've been fully sidetracked, let's try to improve iron production. We might be able to squeeze more iron out of this patch with some beacons, but I'm not sure if we have enough tech cards to research it. Oh, looks like we already started on it. Let's see. Yeah, that should be enough. Let's go for it. There's beacons. I'll put production for them in the mall. This design has a beacon surrounded by miners. And that's the only good thing I can say about it. Yeah, never mind. Let's just focus on improving miner density and putting speed modules in everything. Also, the landfill and concrete are done. I totally forgot there's a second iron patch over here. I'll put miners on it too. The first iron patch will now output to the right. This is purely for aesthetic reasons. The second iron patch will also output to the right, but this time for purely unaesthetic reasons. After balancing the output, we can balance the balanced output with the other balanced output in a new balancer to balance the balanced outputs. After all is said and done, we've got solid lanes of iron again. I think there's enough extra in the lines for a third smelting array, so let's set that up. Once again, our output balancer is stuttering, but this time it's an easy fix. Since inserters prefer one side of the belts can end up unbalanced on their sides. So if we balance the sides here, that should fix the stutter. Our uranium mining setup is super slow, and that poses a few problems. Well, one big problem. We're running out of binocular fuel cells. I'm going to try and desperately increase uranium production, but there really isn't much we can do here. It's just not enough. This wouldn't be so bad if we had another uranium patch inside of our walls, but since we don't, we have to focus on this one. Expanding with a pending power outage is just too risky. We're down to our last fuel cell here, so it's quite desperate. Imagine if I didn't notice. We'd be screwed. Well, we're still screwed, but slightly less screwed than the worst possible screwage. I'll paste down some more centrifuges. We need to work through this uranium ore as fast as possible. Looks like I'll have to dip into our Kovarex enrichment buffer, which really stinks because if it would have been running already, we wouldn't have this issue. That should buy us some more time to come up with a solution. But there's really no way around it. We need more uranium somehow. But how? In classic Jaden fashion, I decided to completely ignore the problem for now. In other news, we now have 12,000 construction robots in the network. Cool. In a complete lapse of judgment, I decided to plug in the rest of the productivity module production. You might see why this is a bad idea. And now, slowly but surely, we're making electronic components. Let's hook them up to the productivity modules. There we go, all hooked up. Now for the green circuits. And that's the green circuits. They'll slowly make their way across, and the electronic components should meet them in the middle. I'll speed up the video 1000% so you don't have to wait too long. And there we go, we're making productivity modules. Green circuits can't quite keep up, but that's fine. Let's belt those modules. There we go. Now we just need U-238. Wait, uranium. Wasn't I doing something with that? Oh yeah! Slightly large issue, we're completely out of fuel cells now. We've got 12 more U-35 chilling in the enrichment centrifuge, but I really don't want to use them. The only way we can get this power plant back online is to get enrichment running, so we need a different power source. Solar panels won't cut it. They only provide less than half of the power we need. Speaking of less than half, we're quickly running out of steam, pun intended, so let's go over our options. Fusion power. Nope, we don't have any DT fuel cells. They were all destroyed in the Spidertron. Solar power. While it isn't up to the task right now, we can definitely place some more. We've got around 2,000 panels chilling in storage. I'm not sure how much that'll help, but we're out of time. After 40 seconds, we're out of accumulator backup, and we drop super low on satisfaction. Fun fact, when laser turrets start to lose power, they take even more power to start shooting again, so you get massive satisfaction numbers like this. Just a casual 2 gigawatts. I cracked under the pressure a little bit and put some more uranium in the fuel cell assembler, but there isn't even enough power to craft it right now. I'll cut back the base as much as possible, but I'm not sure how much it'll help. Disconnecting the iron and copper plates is a good start. Now for the even more fun part. The night. As everything begins to lose power, the laser turrets turn off, and since we don't have any backup defenses, we're kinda screwed till day. I can go defend the walls manually though. But once I finish with one attack, there's always more. Even these tiny attacks with just a few spitters are starting to cause some decent damage all around the walls. There's nothing we can really do about it until day. Good thing laser turrets have the highest power priority. Back at the plant, there's not much going on. Obviously. I'm going to steal from enrichment again and craft a fuel cell with my bare hands. After melting off all of my skin and causing irreparable damage to my DNA, we can turn the plant back on for a little while. Since we need to recharge the base, this might take a second to stabilize. We almost did it, and then night hit. I made 4 more fuel cells and turned on all of the reactors. That should do it. Now we've only got 5 235 left. Not good. We could try expanding uranium mining, but that's probably not the best idea short term. Let's just spam the heck out of solar panels. Hopefully that'll be enough. Efficiency modules couldn't hurt. Let's place some more solar. Well, we ran out of materials. Hopefully we were able to crank out enough of them. There's not really a way around it, is there? We're going to need uranium to kickstart enrichment, so let's just crank as much uranium out of this small patch as possible. After hooking it all up, we can throw down a beacon and shove some speed modules in. We almost doubled our output. Hopefully this will be our saving grace. Plants are down, and now the wall attacks begin. Some of them are minor, but these ones down here are really shredding it up. I'm setting up steam power again in a desperate attempt to supplement the base. Night again, more attacks. I knew deep down in my heart that the steam power would probably not help, but all I could do was try. And what was the result? 30 megawatts. Not very helpful. As I tore it down, I was nearly slamming my head into my desk, just trying to come up with a way to make a bunch of power quickly with our pre-existing infrastructure. You can see the exact moment when I realized I forgot about gas power stations. Finally, a decent solution. This should actually work. I'll place down all of the ones we have in storage, disconnect the plastic production, and presto! 72 megawatts. Shoot. But worry not, we only need about 500 megawatts total, and we're already making over 400 with the solar panels, so let's just place a few more. After another long, pitiful night of death and destruction, the sun rises. And it's almost working. Satisfaction is almost full. A little bit later, we're in business. The accumulators are charging again. Now we just need to amass enough 235 to kickstart enrichment. A quick time lapse reveals that we've got enough power to make it through the night too. Sweet. We've got 22 out of 30 uranium-235, so just a bit more waiting. Around 10 minutes later, we're enriching. I'll put in some speed modules to squeeze out as much uranium as possible. I said speed modules. Thank you. Now let's set up a big enrichment loop. It's comically large, but if I was a business major, I would call it future-proofing. After setting up all of the splitters and their priority, I'll move 30 uranium-235 into the loop. I'll steal some of the uranium, the bots will then steal it from me, then it'll end up in the fuel cell assembler. And with that up and running, let's finish purple tech cards. I'll hook plastic production back up, remove the gas generators, and reconnect the furnaces. And place the final belt for the tech cards. With the output hooked up, we can start researching again. Nuclear fuel reprocessing. Might as well set that up. Man, that is a lot of tech cards. Okay, time for the fun part. Coal liquefaction, advanced fuel, braking force 3, inserter capacity bonus 4, logistics 3, worker robot cargo size 2, inserter capacity bonus 5, automation 3, braking force 4, inserter capacity bonus 6, braking force 5, advanced solar panel, personal battery mark 3, nocular locomotive, lab research speed 5. Okay, let's get started on yellow tech cards. Luckily, we already have blue circuits set up, but we still need to make low density structure and rocket fuel. But unfortunately, there isn't any room to build. So first up on the agenda today is filling this lake. While thousands of bots place landfill, I'll answer your questions. Why aren't you building the yellow tech cards below the bus? Good question, and the answer is organization. Putting the tech cards above the bus consistently will leave room below the bus to add new intermediate products if the need arises. Next question. When are you going to play space exploration? Concrete production has stopped. Luckily, it looks like we just accidentally disconnected the water. There we go. We seem to have run out of laser turrets, and it looks like it's due to a lack of batteries. But it's fine, the passive provider chest is just backed up. I'll replace it with an active provider chest and it'll start right back up. Since concrete has dried up literally and metaphorically, I'll literally use some of our speed modules to metaphorically get production back on its feet. Our base is now quite large, but we still only have one lane of copper plates. So let's add another one. I'll have to move this iron supply belt for steel, and then we can paste it down. After connecting all the pipes, I headed north to get 2 more lanes of copper ore, but this mine can barely handle 2 lanes already, so we'll have to bring in the ore from somewhere else. There's more ore over here next to belt production, but I'd really prefer feeding the smelters from beneath. This patch over here should do. Let's fill in a little bit of this lake. I'm going to deliver the ore by train. But since we have time to kill, instead of expanding it to just 2 or even 3 smelters, let's finish the whole array. The third smelter fits fine, but steel production gets in the way of the fourth one, so I'll have to shift the last 3 smelters down a slot. I'm not going to finish iron, but I can at least landfill in the space we'll need later. Since feeding 6 lanes of copper plates will take 12 belts of ore, let's be smart and build a stacker for the drop-off station. Hopefully we'll have more than one delivery train in the near future. Fitting rail infrastructure inside of the grid is slightly strange, but this'll work. Luckily, you can fit 12 loaders around a single cargo wagon. And here's a massive 12 by 12 balancer. Now I'll hook up all the smelters. The bottom 3 were easy, but the rest of these belts need to snake through and around steel production. After a bit of belt wrangling, all the smelters are hooked up to the train station. Now I'll build the actual train, then set up the copper mine. I'm going to use circuit conditions on the pickup station to disable it whenever it doesn't have enough ore. This will make adding more train stations easy later on. And here's our first load of copper ore. Let's finish hooking up all the pipes, and then all the smelters will start right up. There's a lot of gaps in the belt, but it's a lot better than just one belt. Now I'll improperly balance the sides of the belts, just because I feel like it. Still filling in the lake. I popped over to the reactor to make sure everything was running smoothly. I'll give it a 1 out of 4 on smoothness. We're still waiting on uranium enrichment to back up. I'll give it a little help by redistributing the uranium buffers. Now they're all running. The lake is almost completely filled now, so let's start extending the bus. Except we quickly hit a wall. A stone wall, even. The stone mining patch is dead center where we want to expand the bus, so it's gonna have to go bye-bye. Luckily, there's this second stone patch down here, so let's just mine that instead. All of these steel chests are full of stone, and we need to get rid of them. This will be our chance to stress test the base by using all 17,000 construction robots at the same time. And the Chargepocalypse begins. I'll set up the new stone mine now. All done. And here comes the train. Now I'll finish extending the bus. Now, you may know me as the guy who never uses assembly machine 3s, but today is an exception. I'll set up automation for those and all of the blue belt items. Now let's get back to yellow tech cards. Keeping up with tradition, it's time to steal the blank tech card production. 1 ingredient down, 3 to go. Speaking of down, power is dying again, but we'll ignore it and hope solar power picks up the slack in the morning. And yes, we're still waiting for enrichment to back up. Time for ingredient 2, blue circuits. Now we need to make rocket fuel. I could do it the easy way and make it out of oil, but we're running out of oil off camera and I don't want you to know that yet, so don't tell anyone. Anyway, why would I use oil to make it when I can just make it out of thin air? Yes, it's going to take a lot of atmospheric condensers, but go big or go home. After making the condensers look pretty, we can paste it down a bunch of times. Immediately after I finished said pasting, the base ran out of power. After running over to the plant, the enrichment is starting to back up, but I'll just steal some and chuck it in the fuel cell assembler. Back to yellow cards again. Now I just need to connect all 200 atmospheric condensers together. There we go. Now for the electrolysis plants for hydrogen and oxygen. We need a few of these too, but not too many. I'll plug in the water, and now we've got hydrogen and oxygen. The ratios are slightly off, so we need a touch more oxygen. And that's all the base gases. Now let's start on ammonia. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit very nicely, but whatever, I'll hook it all up. With the ammonia done, let's place down the fuel refineries. We'll need to hook up the ammonia, oxygen, and get some iron plates. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit nicely either, so I'll have to make this long protrusion to the right. I'll hook up the iron plates. Then all the fluids. And now that we've got ammonia, we're starting to make rocket fuel. 3 out of 4 ingredients. Next up is low density structure. Now we just need to wait for everything to be built. Now let's hook everything up. And that's all the ingredients. Now, unfortunately, I set up all the research servers with only 3 out of 4 ingredients. I forgot about the rocket fuel. Let's try that again. "24 research servers." And that's yellow tech cards. Now, before we do any research, I want to clean up this build a little bit. The worst offender here is definitely the rocket fuel. It's just too long. So let's tear it down and split it into smaller pieces. Now that it fits into the proper footprint, let's hook it back up. There we go. Now time for research. Advanced additional electric engine, advanced exoskeleton, immersite night vision, portable immersite solar panels, personal roboport Mark II, energy shield Mark III, laser shooting speed 5, uranium ammo, laser shooting speed 6, destroyer, personal laser defense Mark II, refined flammables 4, stronger explosives 4, laser shooting speed 7, energy weapons damage 5, refined flammables 5, stronger explosives 5, military 5, energy weapons damage 6, physical projectile damage 6. Refined flammable 6, stronger explosive 6, weapon shooting speed 6, follower robot count 5, artillery follower robot count 6, railgun turrets, worker robot cargo size 3, logistics 4, larger containers for logistics system, mining productivity 3, lab research speed 6, braking force 6, inserter capacity bonus 7, braking force 7, atomic bomb, quantum computer, singularity lab, and matter tech cards. We've now finished all of the tech cards we were making in the old base, and now we get to move on to the new stuff again. Okay, so tech cards. Next one up is the matter tech card. Looks simple enough. Needs to be made in a quantum computer though. The matter tech cards need blue circuits, but it looks like we aren't doing too hot on those. Okay, we don't have enough red circuits, and that's due to a shortage of green circuits, which is due to low copper. So let's give the green circuits priority, but the root cause is our ore deficit. Oh, and the red circuits get green circuit priority too. There's not any more copper ore on the inside of the wall. This patch looks good, but I don't really feel like expanding right now. Copper can wait. Regardless of supply shortages, let's set up production for the cards. Although I can only make one quantum computer right now because I don't have any AI core production. I have a feeling we're going to need a lot more of them, so that means it's time to set up immersite production again. I'm hoping to get a full red belt of immersite crystals, so I'll use some beacons with speed modules to get this puppy really going. Now I need to crush all of this raw immersite into immersite powder. Problem is, even with speed modules, I need 100 crushers. I don't really have the room right here, but maybe I can fill in the lake and fit it there. Although I did just realize that filling in the lake was pointless since we already have all this room over here. Let me run a belt, and then we can start pasting down the crushers. Love that sound. The quarry can't quite keep up with our quantitative quota of 2 red conveyors of crystalline crystals. That's fine though, we can add more speed modules later if we need. Oh, I didn't realize the recipe made sand too. Gonna have to split that out. There, now we just need to balance all the crushers together. The uranium train has run out of fuel. I'll put down a requester chest to fill it back up. Okay, slight problem with the 1 belt of crystals thing. 900. That's way too many chemical plants. We're going to scale back a ton to just 28. Our crusher setup is hilariously oversized now, but whatever, it's not worth tearing down. Now we need to make nitric acid for the chemical plants. Luckily, we only need 1 chemical plant for all the acid we need. But we do need mineral water, and the water that we used to use is all the way out here, landlocked by the biters. I think they'll leave it alone long enough for us to stockpile some, though. The train never got refueled. Guess I'll go do it myself then. And since the train hasn't been making deliveries, we're starting to run low on fuel cells. Hopefully it'll catch back up. I started dumping the mineral water into a huge tank, but it looks like the pipe is disconnected somewhere. Oh great, right next to the nest. Let's go replace it. I was hoping I could carefully get a bot to place the pipe, but it did more harm than good. But if we distract him for a little bit, that'll do. There we go, now we're filling the tank. Hold on, I just remembered. Wasn't there some mineral water next to the lake before we filled it in? Oh. Well, looks like I just wasted 5 minutes. I'll barrel the mineral water. I've decided I'm going to start abusing logistics bots a bit more. I'm also going to deliver the regular water with bots, even though there's a perfectly good lake over here. I'm just crazy. I'll finish hooking everything up and set up sulfuric acid delivery. And there we go, we've got immersite crystals. Slowly. So let's throw the end of the bus into passive provider chests. I'm going to use robots for a lot of builds from here on out. Matter tech cards are simple, besides needing the matter research data, which takes lithium. We don't have lithium, so we'll just have to make it later. I also made myself 2 Mark II exoskeletons, and I'm speedy now. You know, since all the bot storage is over here, let's move the science production over there too. Let's get to work on lithium. It's decently simple, just water and lithium chloride. Oh, looks like we already had a little bit chilling in storage, so now we're making some of the data. How did the uranium train run out of fuel again? Weird. Okay, now I'm distracted. I see these warehouse buildings, I've got to try one. Whoa. That's a lot of storage. Let's move some of the old chests into it. Okay, let's finally set up the lithium. I don't care too much about the ratios right now since the bots will just deliver everything for me. Okay, I'm distracted again. So let's set up a buffer warehouse and deconstruct all of the old storage and move it into the new warehouses. That's a lot of bots. And that's a lot of stone. Lithium is running, so now we should have a steady, although slow, supply of matter tech cards. The advanced labs don't take the matter tech cards, so now we have to upgrade to the singularity labs, and man, they are expensive. We've got everything we need for them on hand except for electric engines, so let's chuck a bunch more of those down. Still might take a while. Oh no. How are we out of fuel for the reactors? Oh, we're out of uranium-238. The bad stuff is the problem this time? Huh. Oh, I think I know what our problem is. Yep, this patch is bone dry. No more uranium to be had. Especially since there isn't any more within the walls of the base, and I'm still not going to expand. So, solar panel spam it is. Hopefully we have enough of them this time. We do have a ton of used fuel cells chilling in storage, so let's centrifuge those back into U-238 to prolong our demise a little bit. I'll also massively up solar and accumulator production. And here comes night. Hopefully the damage isn't too bad. If you need to give something priority, but you're delivering everything with bots, you're out of luck. Best thing you can do is set a massive request size. We're making more solar panels, but the day doesn't last very long. Yet again, we're plunged into darkness. The biters actually breached the wall this time too. Time to double up. And more turrets for good measure. I just realized where all the U-238 was going. I forgot that purple tech cards need it. No wonder we ran out. We're starting to make the fuel cells again, so we should be in the clear. Although I will still keep placing the solar panels just in case. Let's make some more batteries so we can crank out more accumulators. There it is, we finally made a singularity lab. Looks like it doesn't take any of the tech cards below purple. Huh. Optimization tech cards is the last research in the research tree that requires the cards below purple. Well, while that researches, let's tear down the old science, since I guess we don't need it anymore. It really feels strange wiping out hours worth of progress. The card is done, now we can deconstruct the old labs too. I love all the rainbow puke everywhere. I'm really glad that I made a ton of bots. The saddest deconstruction by far is the basic tech cards. They were pointless from their birth all the way up to their demise. Rest in peace. All of these tech cards have clogged up storage. We're out of room now. I might have stockpiled too many of them. These singularity labs are a lot bigger. Hopefully they're faster too. Optimization tech cards need space research data. Gee, I wonder how you get that. Let's set up the silo. And satellite in the mall? Wait, we're out of solar panels. And we're out of them because we're out of silicon. And we're out of stone for all of its prerequisites. This stone mine is way too slow. Rocket is ready to launch, but we still need the stone for the satellite. There's a patch up here, but I just remembered that we have thousands of stone chilling in storage. We'll use that first. I'll modify the train station a bit to add requester containers to it. Now we're just waiting on blue circuits. Our copper lines are getting unbalanced on their sides. Luckily that horrible side-to-side balancer fits perfectly here. If something fits somewhere, it belongs there, and I'm sure this argument has no flaws whatsoever. Back to diagnosing blue circuits, they're lacking red circuits, and red circuits were lacking stone, but that's fixed now, so now they just need more copper. Since only this top line of the copper smelter runs continuously, I want to make sure it lasts a long time, so I'll stuff it with prod modules. Checking in on the reactor, it looks good to me. We've got a nice buffer of 238 now. Looks like the green circuits are continuing to hog all the copper, so speed modules it is then. Looks like we sent a rocket. I'll limit the satellite input to make sure we don't send too many. Optimization tech cards are easy to assemble once you have the space research. Just add blank tech cards in a quantum computer. We need more engines. As of editing, I cannot remember why. Let's use a requester chest to sort out all of the tech cards into their own warehouse. That's a lot more than I thought. Let's place those computers and start making the tech cards. I'll put some productivity on the stone patch, but man, it's slow. If only I had a way to turn this extra iron ore into stone. Oh wait, I do! Not too far away in the tech tree is the matter conversion recipes, which will let us turn raw materials into matter, and then turn the matter into other raw materials. Pretty cool. So let's get started on those researches. First up is immersium processing. Man, these labs are loud, but at least they look cool. Immersium is made from immersite and rare metals, so I'll stockpile some powder while we wait for it to research. And wait, I did! These labs are super slow. Oh well, we ran out of stone again, so let's fix that since we have some spare time. There's a patch just outside of the base, but I'm too lazy to kill the biters myself, so I've got an idea. If we just build the walls all the way across, the biters should be taken out by the lasers without any manual intervention. Check out how many robots this single worm takes out. Boom. After killing most of them to clear out the middle, we can deconstruct and build the outer wall. Now we can build the stone miners. Now I just need to set up a train station and remove the old station. That should hopefully solve our stone problem. Immersium is researched. Finally, let's set up some smelting for it. Well, not some, a lot. I'll set a request in the buffer warehouse so we can stockpile a ton, then we can start cranking out the gears and beams. Okay, maybe not quite that many. Now that we've got a couple more labs, let's start researching the advanced tech cards. While that researches, we can set up the lithium sulfur batteries. Super easy, although I'm not sure how many we'll need. Better safe than sorry. Off camera, I've been running out of petroleum and lubricant over and over again, so I'll speed up petroleum production, fix light oil cracking, and then spam lube. Not all of the labs have the cards that they need. Looks like the matter cards still aren't getting enough blue circuits. Whatever, I'll just wait a tad longer. I'll also redesign some of the awfully space inefficient robot builds and make some more lithium. Our power plant can't quite keep up with our power demand, but I'm sure that's fine. Advanced tech cards. Next up are energy control units. Since we already make all the ingredients, advanced tech cards are easy. Still lacking on matter tech cards though, but this time it's due to a lack of lithium. This should do the trick. And energy control units are done. Next up is matter processing. Looks like matter tech cards are the bottleneck, and we're low on those due to a lack of research data, which needs more immersite crystals. Immersite crystals stop due to a lack of nitric acid. Water embarreling for the electrolysis plant backed up due to my inability to use active provider chests. And there's matter processing. We also have to research the individual matter recipes. So first up is iron conversion, and I'll automate the new matter buildings. These energy control units and matter stabilizers seem highly expensive. Hopefully we won't need too many of them. Once again, we need more immersite, so let's improve nitric acid production. Also, iron conversion is done. Next up is water conversion. I also just realized we can solve our uranium problem with matter. Nice. But honestly, I think I'd rather use the new power production methods that Krastorio provides. So I'll automate DT fuel cells and fusion reactors, tritium and heavy water. Simple enough. Hopefully 4 chemical plants will be enough. Water conversion is done. Next up is uranium conversion. Now let's make some more tritium, lithium, rare metals, and 235. Uranium conversion is done. Next up is power armor Mark III. We're making tritium, and DT fuel cells are running at full speed as well. Mark III power armor is done. Let's make a pair. Oops. Need more energy control units and modules. There we go. Now for another level of exoskeletons to help me outrun my responsibilities. Yet again, need more speed modules. Let's set up some fusion power. A lot of fusion power. 5 gigawatts seems like a decent amount. Let's go give these matter plants a shot. We have a surplus of iron ore, so we're going to turn it into matter, and then turn that matter into copper ore. Man, these Krastorio buildings look cool. So, now that we're turning iron into copper, hopefully we'll finally escape this seemingly endless copper shortage. But man, these buildings use a ton of power. For some reason, I thought you could turn water directly into matter. Not sure where I got that idea. But we can with an intermediate step. Greenhouses are overpowered. Now we can make uranium out of trees. What a time to be alive. Okay, now let's get started on Singularity Tech cards. We're still running low on blue circuits due to low copper. Still, let's turn more of that iron into copper, shall we? We're running low on optimization cards. Looks like we don't actually make rocket control units anywhere in the base, so let's set that up. Singularity Tech cards are done. I'll ghost the computers like my girlfriend ghosted me. Copper supply is still woefully low. Oh, the matter plants and assemblers never got placed. And that's because we're out of AI cores. Distraction! Laser artillery turrets sound cool, and I finally got everything I need for some level 3 legs. Only one pair though. We're also starting to run low on oil. So, wait, why is it green? Anyways, I'll research oil conversion. Now we've got some supplemental oil going. Still not enough though. Laser artillery turret is done. I can't make one right now though. Okay, the Singularity Tech cards require AI cores and charged matter stabilizers. Great, even more immersite crystal demand. The crystals are running at full capacity until the bots randomly decide to stop delivering the sulfuric acid, but I've got an idea. If we can make matter on site, we can make sulfuric acid on site, so let's build a totally overkill oil setup. Now let's make the acid. Slight problem is we can't make the plates on site from the matter, so I'll just have them delivered. Also, yes, I now realize that I could have just made iron ore and then smelted it, but previous Jaden isn't too smart sometimes. With that distraction over, we're still low on AI cores, but at least I can make some more exoskeletons and a laser artillery turret. Slightly disappointed with the range on this puppy, but let's go try it out. Seems to be working pretty well. I'll leave it to do its thing. Still don't have any charged matter stabilizers, and that's because I forgot to charge them. I'll start making some stabilizer chargers. We still aren't getting enough crystals, so let's throw away these solar panels and expand production a bunch. Let's check in on our laser artillery turret. You know, it would be fun to fill a Spidertron with level 3 exoskeletons. Now, what do we name it? Oh, you can't put exoskeletons in Spidertrons in Krastorio, but at least I can add the additional electric engines. I was looking through storage to see if I could find anything else to put in the Spidertron, but instead I found another Spidertron, and then another one. Let's start charging those matter stabilizers. Now we're making Singularity Tech cards. Nice. I'll add them to the lab requests. Wait, how are we out of purple cards? Oh, I forgot that we removed uranium. Let me fix that. Speaking of uranium, we need more matter to make it, but we're not making enough wood. So let's throw in some speed modules, then copy and paste. Oh wait, they just don't have enough water. Another pump should do the trick. There we go, but I'm still going to add the speed modules and upgrade the belts. The cards I've already stopped. We're out of stabilizers, and we also need more rocket control units. A lot more. Let's start the research for the intergalactic transceiver. Once we power this puppy up, we can beat the game. I'll put some productivity modules in the labs. I'm not sure why I didn't do this earlier. Since the transceiver needs a ton of power, I'll place some accumulators to hopefully kickstart the charging process. We still need even more energy control units, and it looks like we aren't making quite enough nitric acid. So let's go throw in some speed modules. We're out of low density structure now, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's copper. Looks like what's the matter is we don't have enough matter, and we're not feeding the matter plants enough iron, which matters because the matter from the matter plants is used by the matter assemblers to convert the matter into copper, so we need to take the matters of matter into our own hands no matter what. Looks like we just have a throughput problem. I'll upgrade the belts. And I'll add a bypass. Why do we need a bypass? It's a bypass. You've got to build bypasses. Copper ore production is up, and these machines are so loud that it broke OBS, so everything is going to sound a bit crispy for a little bit. We have some extra raw immersite from the quarry, so let's make matter out of it too. And we're still low on oil, so any excess matter will be turned into oil. Copper's now backed up, but that's not a good thing. We don't have enough sulfuric acid. Hopefully some productivity will help. Nope. Well, I'll start putting productivity modules in the low-density structure assemblers. We're still low on singularity tech cards, so we need even more matter stabilizers, which means we need even more copper. So productivity for the sulfur, and then we can research the next level of mining drills. There's another small patch of copper up here, but we're going to turn it into matter instead of smelting it. The new drills aren't super expensive, thankfully. You can turn matter directly into copper plates by using the charged matter stabilizers. So let's try that. Cool. Let's scale it up. It's not much. We need more. Now we can't charge the stabilizers fast enough, so it's time to engage multi-threading. This should definitely help our copper supply. Low density structure is looking a lot better now. Oh, great. We ran out of DT fuel cells due to a lack of lithium. More speed modules and more chloride. There we go. Halfway done. Copper is low again, but this time it's due to the dirty water backing up in the ore enrichment chemical plants. But that's an easy fix. We've made 1,700 singularity cards, but only used 1,300, and we're 63% done. Man, productivity is awesome. Since I want to charge the singularity as fast as possible, I'll build a couple more fusion reactors. Man, still not enough cards. We need even more stabilizers. I'll start requesting all the ingredients for the transceiver in advance. And there it is. Looks like we just have to plug it in and wait for it to charge. Neat. Still need more energy control units. Also, more fusion reactors, because I feel like it. Just a few more. Man, I've already waited long enough. Why does it craft so slow? There it is. Now we just need to wait for it to charge. Man, the animation is cool. Wait, what? Did we run out of power? No? Huh. Why didn't the tips and tricks say this? Fine, more fusion reactors. Deconstruct everything that wastes power. Get rid of everything matter-related. More fuel cells. Let's try this again. Man, more DT cells. Uh-oh. More tritium. More uranium. More matter. Even more uranium. More cells, more low density structure. More solar panels. More heavy water. Halfway there. Come on. And that's it. We're done. Oh, that would have made it a lot easier.
Message received. Dispatcher rescue starship. Estimated time required. 268 years.
Years? How does it feel to build belts interlinked?
Interlinked.
How does expanding the base make you feel? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
I am a
Engineer.
Factory.
I want a factory. Big factory.
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 It grows.
頼んだぜ俺のデビルキラー